All right, everybody, welcome out here to Texas Motor Speedway. If you're just joining us or if you've been here all day, I've been watching throughout the day from Pro qualifying, the remaining of the Pro 2 qualifying, and now the top 16. For the final time, these Pro 2 drivers will be doing battle at the Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship. We will crown a 2019 Pro 2 champion here at Texas Motor Speedway. We'll kick things off here in just a little bit, introduce you to our top 16 drivers as our colors being represented. I'll introduce you to them in just a moment, as well as our kicking things off here this weekend. We started things off yesterday with Pro 2 qualifying. We had some pro practice, and then we had to shut it down. Got a little too dark, but tonight we'll be under the lights here at Texas Motor Speedway. My name is Jared Dienda. I'll have Ryan Sage, my co-host, with me. We'll also get some words from Ryan Lontaine representing the judges. Ryan Lontaine, Brian Eggert, and Andy Yen. So, without further ado, if you could please stand and remove your hats, as ladies and gentlemen, presentation of the colors by the Eagle Mountain Saginaw ISD's Air Force Junior Reserve Officers Cadet Corps. And singing the national anthem is our very own Formula Drift staff member, Emily Uhl.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the
Thank you, Emily Uhl. And of course, the Eagle Mountain Saginaw ISD's Air Force Junior Reserve Officers Cadet Corps. All right, let's introduce you to our top 16 drivers. We kick things off. This driver might have come the furthest here, maybe not, a little challenging, but it came all the way from the land down under that Duralast Holden Ute. Make some noise for Josh Robinson. Next up, he'll be going against the Nexen Tire S chassis of Rob Carlson. Moving on down the line, he is in the Dynasty G37, this hot rod behind the wheel. Number 16, it is Jonathan Herst. Next up, coming all the way from Florida on the Voodoo Ride, Ford-powered S14, it is Kelsey Rawlings. Next up, coming from my home state, from Arizona, in the ClassicCars.com S13, it is Andrew Schulte. Claims, that's right. So what's up, AZ? It's a dry heat. Moving on down the line, the Ferocious Motorsports BMW. It is Kenrick Meyer. He is fighting for the championship, comes in third overall into this round of competition. He qualified third in the CoralWorks S14. It is Garrett Denton. Next up, unofficially, your 2019 FD Pro 2 Rookie of the Year in the Imagine Garage BMW. Took it hard in the wall, but he's back and ready to do battle. It is Rome Charpentier. Coming from Minnesota in the Dayton 1 Nissan 350Z, it is Alec Robbins. Another driver coming to us from Florida. That is Florida on Achilles tires. Make some noise for the S15 and the driver, Adam LZ. Next up, he is in the field suspension S14, car number 110. It is Tim Cobb. He hails from the Great White North, the bearded one. His hair's going to get a lot longer. It's going to get colder up there. Make some noise for the NV Auto Toyota 86. It is Riley Sexsmith. Next up, from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. We'll see if it's Groundhog Day. See if we can get back on the podium. The PRL Motorsports S14. It is Troy Squirt Manners. Again, challenging, coming the furthest. He is behind the wheel of the Japan Auto. Next to tire, Toyota Supra. It is Ola Yeager. Cool, calm, collect from Southern California, that Roush Performance. Next in tire, Ford Mustang. Currently leading the pack. Can he win the championship? It is Trenton Beecham. Last but definitely not least, in that Red Baron Racing BMW qualifying 11th, make some noise for Donovan Brockway. Those are your 16 drivers. These 15 guys and one gal ready to go toe-to-toe as, again, Alec Robbins, our #1 qualifier in that Dayton 1 Nissan 350Z, currently sits 5th overall in the championship. Beecham leads. Rome Charpentier unofficially grabbing 2019 FD Pro 2 Link Engine Management Rookie of the Year. Not till all the pieces fall in, and then we'll find out and officially announce it. So thank you guys and gals for joining us out here. The Advanced Auto Parts Showdown presented by Rain-X. This is round 4, the Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship. Let's see who comes out on top, rises to the occasion here under the lights at Texas Motor Speedway. Send it, fellas and lady. All right, and the cars are getting prepared here for our first battle. And I can see Kelsey Rawlings. And here is a look at the current standings. Trenton Beecham still out front. Rome Charpentier closing that gap just a little bit, just 5 points behind. Garrett Denton, 20. Josh Robinson in the mix. Alec Robbins, 38. Ryan, we really do have a hunt for the championship, and it could really unfold, and it could go all the way down to the final podium. Look at Alec Robbins. He's our first battle out of the gate. If Kelsey Rawlings takes him out of contention. But it always comes down to the final battle. And especially, you know, I know Steph Papadakis was talking with Robbie about that in our JE Pistons Tech Talk. And, 8 rounds of competition, you're not in contention for the championship. Now 4 for Pro 2. If you miss one, you have a bad round, that really shakes things up.
Yeah, it really does, and that's why it's important to have that consistency, and that's really been where Trenton Beecham has excelled this year. Rome Charpentier, Alec Robbins coming with that win last round have really made it a fight. Now 38 points, not a lot to overcome, given where you could potentially go from 16, 8 to 4, depending on where it all breaks down. But right now, Trenton Beecham is in the leader position. He's got the opportunity, but Rome Charpentier is right there. And as we look at the bracket, Jared, let's take a look at some of the potential matchups if those guys get out of their top 16 battles.
Well, I mean, right out of the gate, you have Alec Robbins, who's sitting in 5th, and then the second battle has Robinson versus Rob Carlson. You know, Troy Manners, Riley Sexsmith, Adam LZ, who could just have a lot of fun out here. We saw him qualify really well, and then Andrew Schulte not in contention on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, the other side of the bracket, we got Beecham up against Jonathan Herst, and of course, Yeager and Cobb are going to be taking off on the right-hand side of the bracket first. But then as you move on down, you got Garrett Denton facing Kendrick Meyer, and then Rome Charpentier and Brockway. So for Charpentier and Beecham, it's possible if they were to win all of their battles, they could potentially meet
in the Final Four.
Some point at the final, well, not some point, but in the Final Four on the right-hand side of the bracket, which could determine the championship.
Okay, yeah, that's again, so many different scenarios could play out with only 16 drivers, and again, 4 rounds. It's come down to this here in Texas. All right, so you can see our first pair there getting set, and then our second pair, as that is Josh Robinson and Rob Carlson. They will be coming up, so we're going to see Josh here shortly. So Alec Robbins just pulling to the side of Kelsey Rawlings. Kelsey qualifying 16th, Alec Robbins qualifying 1st. All right, so just making sure that everything is where it should be as far as the track goes. All right, while we're waiting here, let's take a quick look with Chris Forsberg in the Black Magic Clip Tip.
What's up, everybody? I'm Chris Forsberg, and we're here at Round 7 Formula Drift in Dallas, Texas, or Fort Worth, Texas, technically, for the Black Magic Clip Tip. And I'm standing at the end of Outer Zone 1. This is a brand new clipping zone for this year. Last year we had the inner clipping point on the inside of the track, which was kind of pinching off a lot of drivers, making the tandem a little more difficult. This is actually setting us up nice and wide, a lot more speed and momentum that you're going to want to have to carry through Outer Zone 2, pushing down the big long straightaway to link into Outer Zone 3. A lot of the drivers wanted to see it this way, and I think it's a huge benefit. It allows the chase driver to get a little more inside of the lead driver, so you're out of the smoke trail, and we have way better tandem runs for this weekend. And that is your Black Magic Clip Tip.
All right, well, we are getting ready to see our first battle, and Alec Robbins warming up his tires. All right, Alec Robbins runs to the line in his Dayton 1 Nissan 350Z. Kelsey Rawlings heads into the burnout box. That Voodoo ride, S14 on Achilles tires. It's got a Ford power plant under the hood. It's great to see Kelsey in the mix here in head-to-head battles. Had a string of kind of bad luck earlier this year, but now put it together, and she is very tenacious. And a quick turn and burn of the tires. Warmed up and ready to go. Both these drivers and vehicles on Achilles tires. And here we go. Our first battle of the top 16. You can see the lights illuminate when they extinguish. They're ready to send it, and here we go, our first battle here at Texas 2019. All right, we got a proper start here. Alec Robbins initiates into that big sweeper, kicking it.
There, you saw a little bit of a punctuation there from Kelsey, not really getting back on the throttle as early as you would like, but Robbins made that adjustment. Now he's trying to chase her down coming through this first inside clip. Robbins transitions at the same time as Rawlings, now coming up on the inside, wrapping through this final corner through the smoke line, and both drivers finish up.
Yeah, it gets pretty sketchy there. You can see Kelsey Rawlings going off into the dirt, and there's the Dayton 1 Nissan 350Z of Alec Robbins. It's all sponsors here. Looks like the judge want to take another look here on initiation. Like you said, Ryan, a punctuation. You can see her kind of initiate, and you can see her smoke signal, kind of a quick little abbreviation, and then gets back on it. Oop, right around that front clip. Watch Kelsey feel all of that. And Robbins kind of fails to go all the way to the outside zone like Kelsey did. You can see they're really cooking there across that finish line and that front clip. As they await the outcome here, Alec Robbins in that contention of the championship, currently sitting 5th. 38 points behind the leader. The Dayton 1Z, so slide him for Kelsey Rawlings, and Ryan says Kelsey Rawlings. Brian says one more time, and Andy says Alec Robbins. So it is a split decision. They will go one more time. Ryan Lontaine will bring you in here. It was a split decision. You sided with Kelsey Rawlings, but then Andy said Alec Robbins, and Brian said, you know, let's see him run again.
Yeah, I almost went one more time. I just felt that Robbins made too many mistakes in the lead position for me, and in the lead position for Kelsey, she only made one mistake on initiation, but through the rest of the run she was on it, and it didn't seem to affect Alec too much, but I just felt that Kelsey did a better job. She really held it together in the lead, and in the chase she stayed with him and did a good job of mimicking what he was doing, and he had a big straighten before the finish line there, between outside zone 4 and the finish, and he made a few bobbles earlier on as well, but clearly the other guys did not agree, and it's completely split. So here we're going to do it one more time.
All right, so a split decision between the 3 judges. Let's move on to our next battle. Josh Robinson, Rob Carlson, 2 very aggressive drivers, loud and proud. You can see Josh kind of crawling through that start chicane, and now slingshots out into that first outer zone. Let's see if Rob Carlson can apply the pressure. I know he's been really working on his chase game. Spent a lot of time up at the Willow, streets of Willow. Oh, and Carlson way off course. Rob Carlson overcooking it. Josh Robinson out front, looks like he is managing properly. Carlson really getting off course. Wow.
Well, let's take a look at what happened here. Really close on initiation, but then you see Robinson gas away. He's back on throttle pretty early there, so good job there. He's deep into that outside zone. Carlson keeping it close here, and that's what you want through this center section. You do not want to let that lead driver get away, but then Carlson gets way out of whack on outside zone 3, and that really gives an advantage here to Robinson because now Carlson is left playing catch-up. He had to cut the line pretty dramatically, and it was a big forced air there from Carlson coming through the center section, just getting lost in the smoke. And Jared, we know that that's going to play a role. Nighttime, yeah. Dark, that center section, it's very challenging for drivers.
Yeah, the lights are on. It is a full moon. It's Friday the 13th. We'll see if this track will be a nightmare on Elm Street or nightmare at Texas Motor Speedway, or if it, I don't know, it could play out to be a dream for a lot of these guys to, or girls, to win this event. Yo, shout out to Nate Hamilton. What up, Little Tex? Getting the cones back in the position. They definitely got booted across the track. Howl at the moon. Outside clipping zone. Getting put back into position. as Carlson, we'll see how he manages up front. Okay, and still putting that outside clipping zone back into position. Man, speaking of that full moon, little moonshine, man, that thing is prettier than a full-on still, am I right? And back to the action. The driver's getting a little bit icy there. Keeping it cool. Trying to keep the cars cool. And here we go. Carlson out front. Robinson in the chase position. That big Holden U. And here comes Carlson. Headlights on the side of that S chassis. Robinson needs to gain some ground here. I would have to imagine it's a little bit of an advantage. Robinson got the victory in that round of competition earlier this year. Robinson center punches that clip. Oh, and Carlson goes hard. Spinning out Robinson, contact. My goodness, yard sale cleanup on aisle 4. Wow. Let's make sure they're okay. Can see some movement inside Carlson's vehicle. Robinson. So Ryan, there's going to be some serious repercussions to this. Again, don't want to sensationalize it. Want to make sure they're okay at first, but let's take a look on how this unfolded.
Yeah, well, you can see leaving that first outside zone, coming through the center section, both guys driving really well here, very close together through that inside clip, and then you can see Robinson center punches it, but then as we see him come through that center section, Carlson actually swings very wide after that first inside clip here. He transitions in the wrong area. He's way ahead of that inside clip. And then look, Robinson really was trying to brake, but as the car was spinning, he really had nowhere to go there.
You can see the bash bar flying off. There's Robinson outside of his vehicle. Make some noise for Josh Robinson, stepping outside, and just want to make sure he's okay. And again, just overshooting it, Ryan, as you said, coming out of, and I mean, this is what he did, you know. I'm sure he just shook. I know he puts a lot of emotion, blood, sweat, and tears. And I think just definitely bruised ego there for Carlson. That was a hard hit, man. I can see his head moving, but just want to make sure he's okay. There's absolutely no straight panel on that vehicle.
Yeah, I'd love to see the thumbs up from him or somebody from the team down there to make sure that he's okay. Looks like he's got his helmet off now. You can see in there, definitely disappointed, but here he comes exiting out the vehicle. More
of a bruised ego. Make some noise for him. Rob Carlson stepping outside. Man.
And we've seen that, Jared, you know, coming out of that first inside clip, don't get the timing right. That wall has claimed a few drivers. That was one of the harder hits that we've seen, and it was really at the beginning, much prior to the start of outside zone 4. As we take a look at it again, he leaves that inside clip and see where his car was pointing this way, and when he transitioned, I think he knew right about there, but by that time it was much too late, and luckily for the tire wall, he hadn't gone into the bare concrete. You can see he's driving right there on the left-hand side. He's in the front of the screen there. And once he hits the tire wall, we often see that spinning that happens, but much, much better than going directly into the concrete wall. Unfortunately, the bounce off actually is what affected Robinson a little bit.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a real bummer. And again, yeah, that's going to be a bummer. I'm seeing the wall actually, I believe the wall moved there.
Yeah, they will have to push that back in place. So it's going to be
it's going to take a while.
Potentially, yeah. I'm sure one of the biggest factors is, you know, is there additional oil or liquid down that could potentially have an impact outside of just cleaning up the track.
Yep. So this is going to take a moment. Thank you for your patience, but these guys are risking it. So they're trying to just go for it. And man, that's the repercussions. Sometimes you get bit and the wall bites back. So you can see the corner of Josh Robinson in the front of his vehicle too. So with Rob Carlson, I'm assuming that there will be a fault issued and all that. Do you guys have a victor at all or anything, or just kind of looking over at the judges? So again, we will. So again, with the damage going down, Robinson, I would have to assume that Robinson's going to get the victory here. 2 major mistakes by Carlson, insult to injury there for Carlson, but you can see that front left corner, that front left is absolutely bowed out. So slide him left for Carlson, right for Josh Robinson, that Duralast hold and Ute, and there it is. Josh Robinson gets the victory. He will move on, but the question is now, can he get his car back together? Robinson will go against the winner of Kelsey Rawlings and Alec Robbins. So we'll take a short break. Robinson, our first to advance on into the Grade 8 here in Pro 2. We're going to clean this up, and we will continue with Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship. This is Advanced Auto Parts Showdown presented by Rain-X. All right, so as you can see, Josh Robinson in that corner, that's not where you want your wheel to be, especially if you are potentially, you're moving on to the next round. So now the work begins for Robinson and his team. Does he have the parts for his corner? Can he get it together? Lontaine, again, just unfortunate turn of events there for not only Rob Carlson, but now the victor, Josh Robinson.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a long cleanup, not only for us on the track here, but also for them to get their cars back together. Now, Josh Robinson did get the win here, and there are 7 more battles until he potentially has to go battle again.
Of course.
So the question is, like you just said, does he have the parts to fix the car? And in that time, can he get that car put back together? It looked like the hit wasn't maybe as serious as it looked, at first pass when it happened live. You watch the replay, but it still looks pretty severe.
Yeah.
Looking at that wheel hanging off there. So the reason that we gave Josh Robinson the win is because Rob Carlson incompleted in his lead position, in his lead role, by going off there and hitting the wall, incompleting on his own. Josh Robinson didn't really have anywhere to go in that case.
Yeah.
You know, we're telling them to stay really close and to put on a close tandem battle, and in this case, tires like this, the chase driver has nowhere to go. So we are not putting any kind of responsibility on Josh for anything that occurred, and in that case, we go back to the lead, or the first run, and on the first run, in no way did Josh Robinson incomplete or do anything that would be considered something to warrant a one more time. So Josh Robinson gets the automatic win here based on that.
Yeah, and even on the first run, Carlson, he was really off course in that chase position. So he was really going for it. To be quite honest, I was a little scared for how Rob was going to handle in that lead position, and it kind of came true where he just overcooked it. He was trying to duplicate what he was doing. The conditions have changed. It's dark. It's a lot darker. Yes, we have some lights out here, but it's still dark. You need all of your headlights to work.
And think about how the course has changed just because of the weather. The sun's not shining on the track anymore, so it's a lot cooler. Just the temperature of the air is a lot cooler as well. So things are going to change here on the track, and the drivers are having to adapt to that. Like you said, Rob Carlson did go off. I don't know if that was, it's hard to tell in the replay. We didn't look at it super closely, but looked at one, potentially 2 tires off in the chase position, just beyond outside zone number 3. So that was kind of, you know, an omen, let's say, for what was about to happen. And the way Rob came through inside clip 1, he was really tight, kind of after it, and as he rotated the car, he was just way too wide to the left. There was no way he was going to make it around that corner without going into the tires at that speed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if Josh has the parts to necessarily fix this car at his hot pit area, which it looks like they're taking him to right now. Perhaps they've gone back to his trailer to get, you know, suspension parts, wheels, things like that, to attempt to fix this, because I'm sure this isn't something he was planning on doing, and he doesn't have these parts handy at his little hot pit tent back here. But they'll try to get the parts. He's going to have, like I said, about 7, potentially 7 battles, maybe more if there are one more time.
Right.
You know, you could end up with more time, but it's not a lot of time to fix something that looks this damaged. I'm not a mechanic, so maybe they can get it done. Hopefully with all the guys they've got back there to help them out, they can get it put it back together so that he can go out and battle some more.
Man, crazy turn of events here, and we will see what happens here for Josh Robinson. Our next battle, I believe, will go back. Yes, I'm seeing over there Troy Manners. I'm seeing him in the mix, as well as Riley Sexsmith, but also in the queue, Alec Robbins and Kelsey Rawlings, who had that absolute split decision between the 3 judges. One going towards Kelsey, one towards Alec, and one more time. So absolute split decision for those 3 drivers, and we will be cleaning up that outside zone area and that tire wall. So again, we'll throw it back to a short commercial break, or whatever time is necessary to get the track up to snuff so we can continue with some more battles. We'll see who's up next, but first up, we got to get this track back up in running order.
Hey, this is Robbie Nishida here with Federico Sherifos.
Hi guys.
Ferrari and at his pit. I know, you've been in the series for a little bit.
Yep.
And it's a Ferrari. I know
Yep.
it's very different, but I just want to get down to how different is it compared to other cars? Like, what's the biggest difference that you have compared to all your other competitors?
Well, I do believe that she has a few characteristics that are very unique. Let's start from the chassis that doesn't have any subframes. So all the lower, upper arms are attached directly to the chassis, right? She's really thin as a structure of the car, right? The other main thing is that I feel double the angle of everybody. So sometimes I feel like, oh, you're going on a spin. No, it's not. That means it's fine. Let's go. I'm just getting used to her. Well, the engine from OEM starts just behind the wheelbase. That's a big difference. Also with the weight distribution and everything. Plus, she's Fiorella. She's different. She's special.
Well, you got it. Those are the things that are a little bit different or very different from all these other competitors, but check them out. I know you're doing great. Car looks great.
Thank you so
it's
much.
a Ferrari. Come on now,
Yes,
right?
it's a Ferrari and I have to do the job. I have a lot of pressure, She doesn't go by herself. You have to drive her even if it's a Ferrari, but fine.
Nice, man. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right, welcome back here. Ryan, we are moving that K-rail, moving that wall right into position, and we will get it back up and ready to run.
Yeah, a pretty crazy set of events there, and kind of a hiccup here in the competition flow. But let's take a look at it again, Jared, see if we can find out exactly where this started to go wrong. We talked about the inside clip, and it looks like Carlson was on a pretty decent line here, but he leaves this inside clip, and he was pointing in the wrong direction, and as he transitioned, he was coming in a bit too fast there, and then Robinson really didn't have a lot of time to react at all, and that got us where we are now, and so we're making the final repairs of the wall. You can see a little bit of a pushing the wall there, but then also a bit down here as well, right there, as you can see that it collapsed the way that it was supposed to. And all those rails are pinned. They're supposed to move a very specific way when cars crash into them. And they do need to be replaced, however, so they're back straight once again. So a tough break there once again for Rob Carlson. Obviously not the delay that you're looking for here, but as the team puts things back together, we already have one driver into the Great 8. We've got the one more time battle between Alec Robbins and Kelsey Rawlings still left to go. And of course,
Oh,
you should hop on in here, man.
Yeah, here. Rob.
We actually have Rob Carlson came up in the booth. Rob, why don't you tell us a little bit what your experience was there, how that all happened?
Well, besides being sore, let's start off with my follow run. I knew I was at a disadvantage. I actually tire dropped in the outer zone 3.
So tried to send it 100% going into my lead run, and we came in a little hard after inner clip. Knew the tire wall was going to be really close, tried to avoid it by coming out of the hole, and we hit it full on. So sore, I'm still full of adrenaline.
I saw you grab your neck when you got out of the car. Was that you just putting your hand on your neck, or were you feeling if there was a little bit of soreness already developing?
Just checking the Hans device.
Yeah.
The tire wall was actually quite soft. There's a secondary hit of Josh Robinson's ute kind of contacting us. I feel very bad that, you know, my incident in my line caused his collision. So try to offer help, see what we can do, and make sure my team's available for him. Try to be teammates no matter what. We're all in this together.
Yep.
But I know I'm going to be sore tomorrow, so just trying to take it as it comes. The safety crew out here is amazing. They're checking me out. They're going to follow up with me and make sure everything's good. Trying to just assess what's going on and make sure everyone's all right.
Many years ago when Vaughn Gittin Jr. had that big crash near the same wall outside of competition, but a lot of people did see it, he recollected going to make it, and he threw the car around. Was there a moment when you're coming past inside clip one where you thought maybe I'm not going to make it, and then you just prepared for the hit, or what was going through your mind?
Absolutely. You have to make a split-second decision, and all day we've been, especially in Pro 2 with our narrower tires, making the momentum out and getting around the inner clip just takes full commitment.
Right.
And you have to be flat out, no hesitation, no lift, and when you nail it, you're always coming to that tire wall where you have to transition just perfect. You transition too fast, which I actually did in my lead.
Yep.
In practice.
Okay.
More, and you take a shallow line. Same thing I did in qualifying. I actually did quite well in the rest of the course, but coming into the wall, I made a split decision to transition too soon. So this one, wanting to put it on the wall, knowing I had to have the perfect line, I knew right after transitioning, gave it gas, I was out of tire, knew that it wasn't gripping up. Second run, right there, last corner, you're pretty much bald. So our tires are barely lasting 2 laps, and didn't have the forward bite, didn't have the grip, knew I was gonna hit, tried to straighten out the car a little bit just so the back wouldn't hit and take me in, and I hit, from what I felt, it happened so fast, full side of the car in there, secondary impact of Josh Robinson, and then I don't really remember. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the video because I don't really know what happened.
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular. I mean, most importantly, we're glad that you're okay. Obviously, it's not the highlight reel that you want, but that will definitely go down as one of the crazier things that we've seen. And, you know, the fact that you have such a massive amount of enthusiasm. And as while we look at it on the screen, why don't you walk us through it? This might be the first time you've actually seen it like this.
So right now I take it out, I'm going in. Oh no, I'm Danny George, am I gonna kick flip? Oh no, what's going on here? Am I upside down? Which way is up? I tried to spin a little bit to see which direction I was in. And that's pretty much my recollection of it. What do you think?
You know, we knew that there was some trouble brewing when you came through that inside clip, but you know, you never know exactly how the cars are going to bounce off. And,
oh
I mean,
my Lord.
So much better that way, I guess, than the bare concrete, which is what we saw in the past with Vaughn's incident. But still, you have this kind of bouncing effect, and you can see Robinson coming in here. He's on the brakes right now, and just boom, right there, you guys collide, which is, you know, kind of peculiar timing there. But really, you know, as a chase driver in proximity, you really have nowhere to go.
That's correct. You could tell right after I transitioned on throttle, you know, you could see it wasn't going anywhere. Tried to grab e-brake, tried to take angle out of the car, and still impact was imminent.
Well, hey, man, we're glad you're okay. We'll check in on you. We really love your enthusiasm and appreciate you being part of Pro 2. You're one of the funnest guys to watch out there, man, so thanks so much.
Thank you so much. I've been waiting to be interviewed this whole time because I know exactly what to do with my hands, you know?
There it is.
All right, take
Rob
it easy.
Carlson, everybody. Thank you, Rob. Now, Jared, you know, obviously as we finish up the last little repairs here, it's great to see, you know, Rob up in the booth and that he's doing okay. And Jared, I was just trying to talk to you, but it's great to see him up here in the booth. He's doing okay, and he still had that Rob Carlson energy.
Right. Yeah. No, I know he's invested a lot. I didn't hear exactly everything he said, but just knowing Rob all these years, he's invested a lot of time into his skill and his craft and building his car. So I think a lot of it has to do with bruised ego and obviously just, you know, you put your blood, sweat, tears into the vehicle, and then you take it into the wall really hard. And again, he really wanted to apologize, come up here and apologize about delaying the show. So, all right, so yeah, so let's take a look here. This is Forrest Wang earlier today, and here's Rob Carlson. You can see he came in super hot, but Forrest, you can see how he just flirts with it and then just kind of deflects it and just hits the bumpers. Rob just buries it in there.
Yeah, and this was run 1 for Forrest, so he was able to come back and get that scored run to make it into the top 32. But you can see just how important the momentum is coming from inside clip 1, and we know that there is a decel area right before outside zone 2. Drivers, you know, obviously can use that so they don't go into the wall. But sometimes just coming through with too much momentum and a difficult line.
Yeah, so you can definitely save it. This was Piotr Visick earlier today, and he glanced it and he came off it, but you kind of just get a lucky bounce, or the way the wheel kind of, you know, your back left wheel gets into it. But watch Piotr, whoa, and just saves it from you know, going right in. But you can see that back left corner getting all sorts of, you know, burnt rubber on the side of it.
Yeah, and you can see Peter was letting it float out for a while, and as soon as he got to the wall, he made a good defensive move there and postured up to try to avoid having the front end crash into the wall as well. Looks like we are clearing things up here, Jared.
Nice.
So once again, congratulations to Josh Robinson, and you know, really you know, bummed for Carlson, but ultimately I think this was a really good year for him. Came out, proved himself in a lot of different ways, not only in competition, but just as a professional driver and putting his Pro 2 program together, and there's a lot to be taken away from it, because we will see everybody that gets eliminated in a battle here tonight is going to be the last time that they'll compete in 2019 in this particular championship.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, yeah, kudos and respect to Rob Carlson for coming up here. Robinson will advance on. He will go against the winner of the one more time between Rawlings and Robbins. We will revisit that. And also, we have Troy Manners and Riley Sexsmith, Adam LZ, and Andrew Schulte on this side of the bracket. And our drivers are getting back into position. And we'll take one last commercial break. When we come back, we'll be ready to send it. All right, and we are back on here, and we are going back to the one more time of Alec Robbins and Kelsey Rawlings. And again, that was a complete split decision all the way across the board for our three judges. Alec Robbins will lead. Our #1 qualifier, Kelsey Rawlings, qualifying 16th, but really giving Alec a run for his money. Again, you know, I say that Kelsey barely got in top 16, but keep in mind there were 30-plus drivers vying for only 16 spots. So it was definitely a tough competition. So to get into head-to-head in Pro 2 is definitely a feat in itself. Here we go. Alec Robbins out front. Kelsey Rawlings in that chase position. Initiating is Alec Robbins. Good fluid initiation. Alec throwing some more angle at it. Kelsey Rawlings diving in on the inside. And now some separation here between Robbins and Rawlings. Into that front clip. Robbins actually takes it out, transitions into the outer zone. Maybe these drivers getting a little bit timid there of that last outer zone and powering through that finish line. Ryan.
Well, let's take a look at this again. Robbins gets another good jump. Kelsey does not want to let him get away. She starts closing the door here towards this outside zone, but she straightens up, loses some angle there. Robbins leaves outside zone 1. He has a little shimmy with the front wheels, hits outside zone 2, now headed over to 3. Here comes Rawlings trying to close the door. Robbins center punches that inside clip, has a little bit of a flub there, but so does Rawlings on the inside. And then a big smoke line from Robbins finishing up that last section of the course. Here it is, outside zone 2 for Robbins and 3. Great job there. Rawlings trying to close the door. There's where the center punch happened on that inside clip from Robbins, and both drivers making some mistakes on that final outside zone, and also the last inside clip was missed a little bit.
All right, so as Kelsey Rawlings and Alec Robbins. Kelsey will now lead, Alec Robbins giving chase. And Kelsey again, so just some good throw down here. Making sure they are good to go. Not too strong. I mean, you can see the flags really waving. Fortunately, smoke coming through, but there is just a lot of it, just given how long this track is. Here we go, Kelsey Rawlings out front. Let's see if she can clean up that initiation. That was kind of a point of contention. She does kind of the same thing, so pretty consistent there, but maybe Alec maybe adds some kind of just more dramatic to it, more drama, excuse me. Oh, and Alec with a big correction. He straightens up to gain some ground. See if that works out for him. Oh, and we got some contact here. Robbins getting very aggressive in that chase position. Ryan, you know, I don't know. Let's look at this again. What do you think?
Well, watch the initiation by Kelsey. Watch the back wheel. She kind of lets it float out. She surges forward a little bit, so very similar from last time. Robbins makes an adjustment. He has a little bit of a flub as he gets close there, trying to keep the proximity on. Now Rawlings out to that outside zone, just at the edge there. Hits that inside clip. Robbins on the inside. They're going to make contact. Kelsey let it float out for a little bit. Then she got back on throttle. Remember, there is a decel zone prior to outside zone 4. So that's what, now obviously that did not end in an incomplete, so the judges will be judging the run as it is.
Yeah.
And to find out who will take the win here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, just got a little wonky there for me, you know, between, like you said, letting it float out there on initiation, that contact there, you know, who's kind of at fault there with that contact. They continued on, which was definitely always exciting to just see them, you know, throw it down and go for it. As the Voodoo Ride Achilles Tire S14 there of Kelsey Rawlings coming to us from Florida. The winner of this battle will be going against Josh Robinson if Josh can get it together. If Josh is unable to run, the driver that gets the win here, is it Kelsey or is it Alex? Slide it left for Rawlings or right for Robbins. Ryan, Andy, and Brian. Brian says, one more time. They're going at it again. It's a one more time. Ryan says Robbins on this time. Lontaine, going to you, your fellow judges there saying one more time, but you siding with that of Alec Robbins.
Yeah, I thought he did a better job overall in the lead run. Just they both did very similar lead runs through the majority of the track, but getting into outside zone 4, I felt like Kelsey slowed down in the zone as opposed to before the zone, which I think caused the contact personally. And she also slowed down a little bit more than she should have at initiation.
Okay.
So I thought Alec, but Alec did not do a great job in his lead, you know?
Yeah.
He was missing a lot of things as well, but I just felt that she did slightly worse in the lead, and then I felt the chases were more or less around the same, you know, but I just
You're kind of dealing with what you're dealt.
Yes.
So out front, you're kind of like, okay, go, let's go, you know, and sometimes, again, they both had that kind of position on that lead run.
Yeah. So it came down to that big slowdown from her in the outside zone 4 that I thought was not really appropriate in that area, right? She should have slowed down earlier, but there was a handbrake pull while she was kind of in the zone there, so that was why I went with Robbins.
All right, but you were outnumbered by the one more times of Andy and Brian Eggert, so they'll go one more time.
Correct.
So one more time, times 2. Let's see them battle again, and they will. But first up, Troy Manners and Riley Sexsmith. Troy Manners in his PRL Motorsports S chassis. Riley Sexsmith in his 2JZ Power Toyota 86. And Manners will lead, qualified 4th compared to 13th of Riley Sexsmith. Oh, looks like we got a false start here. And the restart light illuminates. Beecham reset. And ready to rip. All right, looks like they are good to go. And away they go. Looks like we do have a clean start here. Sexsmith really pedaling. I thought he, for sure, you know, he's giving Sexsmith is giving Manners a lot of room here. Maybe too much, or maybe he's just feeling like that's the way it's gonna flow. So now into the power alley, Manners has all the clean air. Sexsmith doesn't have a lot of angle in that chase position. Manners punts. Whoa, buddy, and Manners, oh man. So Manners with that front bumper. You saw him rotate outside of that front clip, and that looked like it was a completely separate incident. Sexsmith saves his vehicle from going to that tire wall. Want to look at it again, where it went wrong for Manners. I think it was way before that first front clip.
Well, I think Sexsmith actually, well, he knows that he's got a very quick car. That may have been why he gave him a gap here, because he's starting to close it very quickly there towards the latter part of that zone. Now, as Manners leaves outside zone 2, you can see Sexsmith right there with him, a little bit less angle, so he's got a much more speed in his vehicle. And then the transition was just really too big by Manners, and that was a defensive driving in the chase position by Sexsmith to avoid the accident. Watch the transition. He's going to get bounded up here and then snap it back really quick, not able to hold the angle. And then once Sexsmith sees that, he throws the car into a spin to avoid a big collision there.
Yeah, Sexsmith, you could see, yeah, he definitely got into the wall. It could have been a lot worse, but man, those tires are leaving a ton of tiger stripes. Got, they call them Texas pinstripes when you get the brush up on the side of you. So Riley Sexsmith, his crew requesting a bit of time here.
Yeah, what we're hearing is that there was a little bit of a slight touching that happened there.
Okay, so Troy Manners has been deemed at fault. So they're going to get time to take a peek at it. I'm not sure if it's that bad, but they're going to take a look at it. We're going to move on to the next battle.
Yeah, so if you didn't hear that that was race control basically telling us that they were deeming Troy Manners with the incomplete there. If there was any damage to Sexsmith's car because of the defensive driving or any contact that was made, he'll get a chance to take a look at it, but we will move on to the next battle.
Yeah, so there wasn't contact. There was contact with the wall. So, yeah. So unfortunately you could see that right side absolutely, you know, getting into that rubber and the tires. You can see it's all door dinged up. So as you said, yeah, Sexsmith allotted amount of time to take a look at his vehicle, and we'll move on to our next battle. Ryan, Texas always delivers just crazy scenarios.
It'd be cool to start filling the bracket.
Yeah, right. We got one driver in, and yeah, let's just see some clean driving. Keep it off the walls. Keep it clean. Keep it exciting, and it's definitely exciting. But this course proving to be very difficult here in head-to-head.
It's very eerie at nighttime with the smoke coming through like that, and the lights reflecting off the smoke. Full moon, Friday the 13th. Yeah, you know, the whole thing.
Was that supposed to be scary? Is that what you do? You come out of the closet and go,
Mm-hmm.
Good, we're ready for you. Schulte, yours clear to stand, run one. All right.
Ryan, do you like scary movies?
I do, yeah. I got a nice one coming out in 3 days, actually. New Rob Zombie movie, so I'm very hyped on that.
Word. Here we go. Adam LZ, Andrew Schulte. LZ, who qualified 5th, Schulte qualifying 12th. Adam LZ, that's his number as well, gets out to that outside zone. Great looking S15. Schulte getting smoked out there. Can he keep up? He is absolutely lost in that smoke. LZ, quick little correction there to wrap it around that front clip. And Schulte having some difficulty in the chase position. And LZ making quick work of it. And, you know, you got to think, when they alternate positions, how is Schulte going to be out front?
Well, the story this year is that LZ has been a pretty phenomenal individual driver, qualifying driver. Hasn't really been able to put it together in head-to-head, but right here he gets a great jump, Schulte gets lost in the smoke, as you said, Jared. He falls really far behind. At this point, it's not an intentional inactive chase, but he is, for all intents and purposes, not chasing at this moment. So that outside zone playing a big role there, as it looked like he got smoked out in that corner and just kind of went a little bit too deep, was not able to gain back any proximity. Meanwhile, out front, LZ, pretty decent job. Made a little bit of a flub through that inside clip, had to make a slight adjustment there, and didn't get fully into outside zone 4, but for the most part, a pretty decent lead run.
All right, the track and that third rear clipping zone course markers are getting put back into position. And now Schulte will be out front. Ryan, you wonder how LZ is going to approach this. You know, which actually his spotter is Pat Gooden, who competes in pro competition. How's he going to say, you know, hey, Schulte got lost in smoke, he was way back there?
I would say a little bit like Sexsmith, but maybe a little bit more reserved than that. A gap, try to close it towards outside zone 1, keep a nice pace in the center section, and then close it through the finish line, assuming no mistakes from Schulte in the front, and that should lock it up for him. But you know, Schulte has a good opportunity here because you know it wasn't a perfect run by Adam out front, and so he can really put some pressure on there if he's able to, you know, have a very high level qualifying style type lead run where, you know, there could be a potential forced error from Adam LZ.
Schulte qualifying 12th, Adam LZ qualifying 5th, hence the Adam LZ leading first. And here's the second run of this battle. Remember, we have the second one more time between Robbins and Rawlings. We have the second half of the battle between Manners and Sexsmith. And here we go. Schulte out front, little underglow kit. See how he goes into that outside zone, and quickly LZ jumps to the side of him. Ryan, he did not listen to your approach there. He just goes for it right there, tucked into the smoke. And LZ makes a correction, straightens up quite a bit there now, taking out that front clip. Now Schulte dragging bumper and crossing the finish line goes Schulte, spins out, and LZ fortunately stops right there, Ryan.
Well, LZ definitely played a harder game, but I think it's going to pay off for him.
Yeah.
He dives right in there to Schulte. Schulte, big angle in outside zone 3, but LZ proximity really close here, keeping it close in that back bumper, navigating through the smoke line. He did straighten up a little bit there, as you said, Jared, but he was able to keep it and drift through this section of the course, match the transition there, also followed the line out to outside zone 4, and then drove through the smoke line. As you can see, Schulte spinning there just past the finish line. So either way, it would be a mistake for Schulte. That's where we saw that little tiny flub from LZ coming through the center section. But you have to imagine from what we saw in run number 1, it should be enough for.
Might be seeing some more flames underneath Schulte's vehicle, but slide him right for Adam LZ. Andrew Schulte gets knocked out, but Adam LZ gets the victory. I know he's got a lot of fans here and across the globe, but Adam LZ gets the victory, the signature lifeguard hat, and there we are seeing Schulte helmet off, and unfortunately his car catching fire again. Don't know exactly what is going on there, but we'll get him out of here, and we will continue on. Okay, so it looks like off in the distance we have a vehicle in the burnout box. And up there on the line is Ola Yeager. Ola Yeager from Norway going against Tim Cobb. Ola qualified 12th. We've seen him on the podium before. Definitely a driver that could take it to the top. Tim Cobb just there behind the line. And remember, in the start position, the lead car cannot jump the light or the extinguishing of the light. The chase car can jump that starting light. See again the lights really illuminating that smoke. goes across the start line. And it looks like we will be moving here momentarily. Manner's already in the chute over there. And we'll see when we get Sexsmith over to the pre-grid. So look at that. So again, Tim Cobb can do that. That is allowed in the chase position to allow for any sort of horsepower compensation, as we're seeing some sparks coming from Tim Cobb's vehicle here. Oh, and Cobb. Oh man, look at this flexing. Woo, we're seeing sparks, we're seeing contact. Like you said, Ryan, Friday 13th. Whoa, and Tim Cobb, major mistake there, cuts through the smoke. And now ripping it around that final clip.
Well, let's take a look at this again. That was a weird start. You can see the sparks, but watch how slow it looked like Yeager. Big e-brake pull, and Cobb comes right up to him.
Yeah,
so
there's no smoke coming out of that car until the latter portion of that outside zone.
Yeah, so I think luckily that didn't result in anything crazy, but that'll definitely be a deficit on a Yeager. But then we see the big straightening there a bit after that by Cobb in the chase position. I mean, Cobb actually did a really great job to avoid major contact or potential incident on initiation. That was a big handful of e-brake from Yeager right after initiation and almost into the first part of the outside zone.
Yeah. No, I was so busy focusing on Tim Cobb, seeing if anything more was going to happen just with the naked eye. And then, yeah, I wasn't even focused on Yeager. And like you say, he did a good job of avoiding some major contact there, getting the side of Yeager. But definitely a couple times. So let's alternate the order. Tim Cobb here. He will get the clean air, as clean as it can be with all this smoke and lights. And eeriness, as you say, Ryan. This is the first battle of the other side of the bracket. And we are clear to send here the second run for these gentlemen. Let's see, and extinguish now. There we go. So we got a clean start so far. Make sure don't hit any cones. And here goes Cobb out front. Tim Sparky Cobb over here. Looks like he's having, and look at Yeager in the chase position. He's having major problems with that vehicle, unfortunately. And Tim Cobb could very well walk away from this. I was giving a lot of accolades to Yeager, but Cobb, he got into the wall. Whoa, and Cobb overcooks it, keeps it sideways, but that could have gotten ugly.
Yeah, this is getting kind of weird here because, watch this, you see the initiation by Cobb. Now, Yeager really does not initiate or even start drifting. He straights there, opposite drift. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's an incomplete in the chase by Yeager just at first pass. And if you think that there's an incomplete from Cobb coming through the center section, you also have to think about, and watch this, Yeager again drive straight right there. So it's really interesting thinking about all the incidents that happened in those battles or those two runs, because Yeager made a big mistake on initiation, big e-brake hand pull. Cobb actually saved it pretty well, but then Cobb straightened out through that center section. Yeager in his chase run really didn't initiate, opposite drifted, had to readjust, then he straightened through the finish line. So both drivers made mistakes in the chase, and Yeager in his lead position really didn't give an opportunity for Cobb, from initiation, which I think maybe potentially there could be something wrong with the car. So, I don't know, this is when you don't want to be a judge.
This is when you just want them to drive and go all out and make sure their cars are 100%. But yeah, Yeager. So slide them left for Cobb, right for Yeager. Ryan says, Andy, so one more time. Ryan, Lantaine. Okay, we talked about this in many drivers' meetings, saying, you don't want to choose. This is a battle where I think Yeager's having some difficulty. Cobb wasn't the prettiest, but I probably would have sided with Cobb. Why?
Neither one of them did a great job in outside zone one. Cobb was completely straight around outside zone one on his lead, and so was Ula as well. So they both botched the lead right from the beginning. They both had problems in outside zone one where they both could have been considered incompletes in the lead, and that means that we don't have a chase for either driver to look at, because the lead, once the lead is really bad, you can't look at the chase because the chase drivers didn't have an opportunity to do anything. It looks like they both have issues with their cars, honestly. Ula's got trouble keeping the car at angle through outside zone 1. Cobb's got sparks flying everywhere, and he went straight multiple times in outside zone 1. So our hands are tied here by the regulations, the way that we have them written, where 2 incompletes in the lead equal one more time, because we have nothing to look at, unfortunately.
Yep. Yeah, no, it is unfortunate, but no, I appreciate the insight. And of course, that is a time across the board for those guys, and that was a great explanation, the way it's written. So let's go back to the second half of Manners and Sexsmith. Sexsmith will now lead after he got into the wall. Manners had those major mistakes in front of Sexsmith, causing the incident. Run 2 of Sexsmith and Manners. Let's see if we get a victor. And Sexsmith, clean start, here we go. Out of the gate. Sexsmith out front, little Manji entry there on initiation. Sexsmith, you can see him kind of lunging forward. Let's see how Sexsmith comes into that second outer zone, handles it. Manners back there quite a bit. Oh boy, Sexsmith is a flying right now. Comes into the outer zone, dials it in. Manners taking a way shallower line. It looks like Sexsmith will complete the run. That could very well be the best lead run we've seen here tonight.
And enough to get it done for him as well. After that mistake by Manners, coming through that final section there, this is an opportunity in a good position, the lead position, where you've got a clear air in front of you. Sexsmith did not make many mistakes here. He threw down a nice, clean lead run. Manners was left chasing behind. Sexsmith did not make a mistake in the final section, which we've seen from a few drivers here tonight, and he was able to solidify it, and this should push him right into the grade 8.
All right, so Sexsmith, a full pull. Troy Manners right here. You see him taking that shallower line. I have to think that it's going to go the way of the Canadian driver, Riley Sexsmith. Ryan, Andy, and Brian say Riley Sexsmith. Sexsmith will go against Adam LZ in the grade 8. Riley Sexsmith gets the win in the NV Auto 86. Unfortunately, Troy Manners in the PRL Motorsports S14 is knocked out. Okay, so we are now, where are we going to go here on this crazy insanity of a train that is this Pro 2? All right, it looks like we're making sure the rear clipping zones. All right, looks like we are advancing on. If you can recall all the way back to when we kicked things off, it was Kelsey Rawlings and Alec Robbins. They went back, did the one more time, a second one more time, and now Kelsey Rawlings is actually calling a competition timeout. So we were gonna go back to them, but Kelsey's having some issues. One and done, that's the only one she can have, 5-minute allotment. So we will move on to Trenton Beecham from California and Jonathan Herst in his G37.
Well, a big opportunity here, Jared, for Jonathan Herst to play spoiler. We're going to be talking about that pretty much at every top 5 driver that remains in competition in their remaining battles.
Yeah, so, no, sorry. I was going to say Alec Robbins. No, he's not out. Troy Manners, no, sorry.
So we got Beecham up now, the series leader, going up against a very consistent and strong driver in Jonathan Herst. Has had a pretty good year this year with some stellar moments, and now he's got an opportunity to play a big role in the championship.
Yeah, Herst had some great driving in Atlanta. Really liked what he did there, also in St. Louis, but you know, obviously Beecham is the guy going for it, going for that championship. From Southern California, the Roush Performance next entire vehicle. Jonathan Herst, Dynasty, Infinity G37 on Achilles tires. So Beecham will lead, qualified 7th compared to 10th of John Herst, so a fairly equally matched battle here. Let's see some nice clean runs here. Beecham and Herst. Beecham, clean start. Wow, look at Beecham. Just ping out of that gate. Good angle from Beecham, getting all the way out there, actually punting the cone. Oh, Herst, some corrections. Let's see how they handle this transition. Zeroing in on that front clip. Well done by Beecham. Whoa, buddy flirting with it, but no, he saves it, loses the tail light. And Jonathan Herst comes to a halt. Man, that could have gotten very Rob Carlson-esque right there.
That was an incredible save by Beecham, and I have to imagine he probably did not know what was going on with Jonathan Herst after outside zone 1. Herst is going to straighten out right here. Beecham is probably focused, just pointing his car forward at the course at hand. And right here, this is when he starts to pucker up a little bit, and he just pulls it off. Now, had he gone into the wall and incompleted, then we would have an incomplete in the chase and the lead. It would come down to the next run. But in this case, Beecham pulls it off pretty well. He keeps angling the car. He just sustains, loses a couple lights there, and he's able to pull it off. So he'll have an advantage after that first run with the incomplete from Jonathan Herst.
Seemed that Beecham had a little bit of a late transition out of that front clip. It was later, and he's carrying a ton of speed. That's where I got a little nervous coming out of that power alley in that third outside zone, zeroing in on that final outside zone. Now with one tail light. With one tail light. Jonathan Herst. Looks like Sopa ripping off that back bumper. We don't need no stinking bumpers. Looks like I'm seeing Kelsey Rawlings and Alec Robbins. They are on deck for our next battle. All right. Okay, with a lot of Mustang parts on the track, so that has been picked up. Herst will be out front. I know, shoots a lot of flames out of every orifice of that vehicle. Let's see how he handles it with the clean air, and can Beecham handle the pressure in that chase position? So far, so good. Herst looking a lot more comfortable up front, and Beecham getting blinded by the smoke. Oh no, and Beecham with a big correction. Goes off course, oh boy.
It's gonna come down to the leads.
Lead versus lead, chase versus chase, Ryan.
It's gonna come down to the leads. I think Beecham incompleted in his chase. So what the judges have to look at is the two lead runs, because I'm pretty sure that Beecham incompleted in his chase. Looks like he got lost in the smoke. Let's pay close attention to that to verify that. Watch coming through this section of the course. Watch Beecham. He straightens out right there, and then again right there, and he has to reinitiate. And from what I've seen the judges calling this weekend, that would stand out as an incomplete for me. However, did Beecham have the better of the lead runs? Going back to Beecham's lead run, here's a better look at it here. You saw that one straight, there's the second one. So now what the judges are going to be doing, assuming that I'm correct on that, is that they are going to be looking at who had the better of the two lead runs. Here we go.
Beecham up for the championship. Ryan says Trent Beecham. Brian says one more time. Andy says Trenton Beecham gets the win after a very interesting and unique battle. Ryan Lontaine, going over to you. Again, you and Andy saying Trenton Beecham.
You guys hit the nail on the head earlier. The chase runs are both incomplete, so we're going to scratch those and go to the leads. In the lead position, Trenton did a better job through a couple of the areas on the track that really made him stand out, especially outside zone 4, where he stayed committed through that zone, rubbed his bumper on the tires, didn't lose angle, didn't affect his line, and he completed the course. And if you look at what, Jonathan Herst, there we go. What Herst did through that area, he missed a lot of that zone, and I think a couple of the areas, other areas on the track he missed as well. So overall, it looked like Trenton did a better job in the lead position. And unfortunately, with those 2 incompletes in the chases, we had to go to the leads, and that's where he got the win.
All right, we are officially now halfway through top 16. We got 4 drivers in the grade 8. Revisit the second one more time battle, so 3rd overall battle between these 2. Alec Robbins, our #1 qualifier, who sits currently 5th in the championship. Robinson, he's still in contention, but the problem is, hey, you know, stoked that we've got more time is Josh Robinson working on his vehicle. Here we go. Alec Robbins out front, the Dayton 1 Koenig Nissan 350Z, and looks like, and we got a restart here. Robbins jumping the light.
Third time's a charm?
I want to think so. I want to hope so. Yeah, cross your fingers, cross your toes. Nobody knows, knock on wood. How you feeling? Feeling good?
Yeah, good. Staying out of the heat.
Yeah, it's a nice evening. Have a little Pro 2 Bro Down hangout after we award some trophies. And here we go. Again, that does not count. That was a false start there by Alec Robbins. Second one more time, and now there we go. Man, Alec really preloads that car like a drag car. But Kelsey Rawlings, this being the 3rd time. Oh, Alec, massive rates of angle, but he goes off course, and so does Kelsey. No contact made. Getting very Friday the 13th up here.
Yeah, Robbins smartly stays off the course. There we go. Let's keep the debris off to the side. There you go. Well, we're going to want to take a look at that again, Jared, because obviously Robbins went off course and made a mistake there. And the question will be, was Kelsey in proximity? Did she follow him off, and therefore it's not an incomplete for her? So we see Robbins starting to dip, Kelsey going as well. And it may be that she's in close enough proximity that that would be against Robbins, would be my first intuition. So Ryan, if we can bring in Ryan Lantain, just a quick question. Was Kelsey in close enough proximity there to be deemed not at fault for going off course?
Yeah, we were looking at what she did in chase position. She was following that lead driver where he was going, and we tell them to do that in the meeting, although we do say if they go in a place that's a little bit more dangerous, don't follow them. I get at the speed that they're going, and you know, when you're trying to stay close and follow that lead car, things like this happen. So there was a collision that occurred there off course, and Robbins was deemed at fault for that off-road adventure there, so she will have a little bit more time to look at her car.
And she'll also not be deemed, it's not an independent incomplete for her.
Exactly,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, so Jared, the pendulum has swung in the direction of Kelsey Rawlings now, because Robbins, who had a phenomenal performance at St. Louis, is now feeling the pressure and the heat to overcome a pretty big obstacle here of having an incomplete going into his chase run. That means that Kelsey, who's going to have clean air out front, has a big opportunity to move on into the grade 8. She was not at fault there. She was within proximity, so she will have an opportunity to look at her vehicle, of course. And I'm sure that we are going to see another battle in lieu of that. But it looks like after the 2 one more times, we may potentially get a victor here, as the momentum has swung into Kelsey Rawlings' favor at this point.
Yep. So again, she'll assess her car, see what's going on. Here's Ula Yeager warming up his vehicle, and as Lantain kind of, predicted, So Ula Yeager warms up his tires and heads over to the start line. And now here comes Tim Cobb, the field suspension S14. And there is Cobb. Tim Cobb pulling up to the line to go against Ula Yeager. Yeager will lead. We saw just kind of, you know, not the prettiest battles there, but yeah.
We saw some issues.
That's a kind of way of putting it.
But I think, you know, let's just say that there were some mechanical problems too.
That's what I tend to think, and I'd like to think that because we've seen some great driving from Yeager. Cobb, you know, we saw him earlier today in practice, and obviously in qualifying, he gets in the game, qualifying 15th. But Ula Yeager qualifying second. We know he's very capable driver. Sweet. Finding out about Tim Cobb's vehicle, no clutch. So hence, he is just going for it. And there is Yeager. But yeah, Kim doesn't have a clutch. And Yeager now looks like he's found the sauce. Transitioning into that front clip. Here goes Yeager and Cobb trying to get to the side of the Norwegian Supra, and he does a good job there. But maybe just a little too late there for Cobb.
Well, obviously we've confirmed that he is kind of down power, so to speak, in the power level because of no clutch, and that is obviously going to give Ula a big advantage here. He's out front. You can see a big straightening there from Cobb coming out of outside zone 1. He's trying to play ball here, but he's going up against a giant, and that vehicle looks much smoother this time around, the Supra of Ula Yeager. But man, Tim Cobb, amazing there towards the end, closing up the door without a clutch. Unbelievable. Look at this, Jared, coming through the smoke line, tucks up right on the inside and makes it fair play. But now we got to switch things up. This is where it could get real interesting. So Tim Cobb leading, Ula Yeager in the chase.
Cobb, we saw him on his first run. No angle on that first outside zone. We'll see if he can get it done. And here is run 2. Tim Cobb will lead. Ula Yeager giving chase. There's the sparks. Yeager's gonna, I think, play it a little bit safe here. And there goes Cobb on the outside zone. Oh, some straightening, and there he goes off course. So Yeager does not even need to drift the rest of the course, but he's gonna do so just to make sure. Getting all that outside zone and across the finish line. So that'll be a definite Yeager victory. Unfortunately, Cobb, but fortunately, you know, didn't do anything crazy as far as potentially hurting himself or the car.
Well, you got to give it up to the man because he really did put in a good fight there. And knowing that mechanically, I mean, look at the vehicle there. It's not functioning at the level that he needs it to. But I think once again, as we see another driver go out tonight, you have to reflect back and show that he really showed some true grit there at some parts of the competition.
Slide him left for Cobb, right for Yeager, and there you have it. Ula Yeager gets the victory. And we have 3.5 battles left. So remember, we have the first half of the second one more time of Robbins and Rawlings, with Robbins going off course. And that disadvantage going to Alec Robbins. You can see Beecham and their team slapping together the back end of that Ford Mustang. And heading back to the pits, Gonna throw some fresh Nexen tires. And there are the FD officials. They're gonna get up with Tim Cobb, see what happened here. We talked about the sparks, and I was informed by Riley's Sexsmith spotter that he doesn't have a clutch, and hence the sparks just flying out. Tim Cobb with the gloves off, and we will get him off course. Kenrick Myers warming up his tires, Kenrick Meyer, singular. He's in that ferocious BMW. Garrett Denton, he's already on the line. Now, Ryan, like you said, we will bear repeating on the standings and those that are in contention of the championship. Garrett Denton is one of those drivers. Garrett Denton is 20 points behind our leader. And Garrett Denton, he qualified third. Kenrick Meyer qualified 15th. Again, Trenton Beecham still in the mix. He'll go against Ula Yeager. And looks like both drivers ready to go. Here we go. Garrett Denton out front. Kenrick Meyer in the chase position. The Cora Works next tire, S14 with the clean air. Initiates into that big outside sweeper. That big outside zone. And there's Denton. Kenrick Meyer having a little bit of trouble hanging with Denton. Ripping through that outside zone and tight to that front clip. And here comes Denton into that outside zone. Kenrick Meyer with the correction makes it a lot tighter. Denton making it look easy there, Ryan.
Well, here we go. Let's take a look at this out front with Denton. Got a good jump there. Did not let it float out for a long time, but you can see a very small smoke cloud, so really not fully on throttle, but he was able to get a good enough jump that Meyer was not really a factor there on that first outside zone. Big angle there for Denton, but a bit of a mistake on that inside clip, but Meyer's making a lot of mistakes in the chase. So we've taken a look at the lead here from Denton, the chase from Meyer, and now we will switch things up, as the cones definitely need to be picked up here.
But she can't battle the next one.
Okay. All right. All right, Ryan, some interesting things are unfolding here in regards to other parts of the bracket, but we will get to that momentarily. Right now, we're seeing the other side of this bracket. All right, track is clear. Let's see the second half of this. Kenrick Meyer and Garrett Denton battle. Kenrick out front. Lights are on, and they are off, literally, the lights and the drivers. Meyer out front, Denton in the chase position. Kenrick in that ferocious BMW. Looking a lot more comfortable out front, but Denton applies the pressure. Look at him just to the side of the BMW, allowing him to pass. That's what he has to do. Denton now diving in into that first out, or front, inside clip, excuse me. A lot of hesitation there from both the drivers, Ryan, as Kenrick smokes it across the finish line.
Well, aggressive approach by Denton, going right to the side of Meyer, then backing off, tucking up on the inside. Big angle here from Meyer as he leaves that outside zone. Denton is super close. You can tell his car is very grippy and fast. A little bit of a flub there by Meyer coming through that center section, completely misses outside zone 3. Now wrapping back around e-brake pull into the decel zone, misses outside zone 4, but here comes Denton trying to close the door. And I think after the first run, Denton may have held it together just a bit better overall. As we go to the judges' official result.
Oh, man. And here we go with Kenrick Meyer and Garrett Denton. Big turn of events here potentially for Garrett Denton, but I gotta say, I think the needle is gonna go his way. The way he's driving, he looks really good on his lead run. Waiting for the verdict here between Denton and Meyer. And again, coming in here, Ryan, Andy, and Brian. And here we go. Slide him left for Meyer, right for Denton. Ryan says Denton, Andy says Denton, as does Brian. Garrett Denton gets the win and moves on.
Let me just give you a little bit of what's been brewing here, because we are getting towards, go ahead and mark that in if you would, sir.
Just Denton moves on. Our last battle is to be Rome Charpentier and Donovan Brockway, but also what's unfolding is Alec Robbins and Kelsey Rawlings. That's what you're going to elaborate on.
I want to tee it up because as soon as we get through Brockway and Charpentier, we're going to have to address this immediately. Now, what we knew is that Kelsey Rawlings had to use a competition timeout. She was given extra 10 minutes. She was not at fault, and she was not able to make the competition timeout. But because she was not at fault, that means that if this is correct, she would move on to face Josh Robinson. Now we know Robinson has damage.
Really bad damage.
And he may not be able to make that battle. And Rawlings cannot move forward either. So that means we have a potential open bracket on the left-hand side. If I explain that, we might need to go over it again. Down below we have Sexsmith and Adam LZ. And what that means is, if all of that holds, and it's true, that the winner of Adam LZ in the Grade 8 would actually go directly to the finals.
Right.
Unreal.
Yep, and that would be the case. Again, two inoperable cars going against each other. Nobody wins. The winner that would between Sexsmith and LZ would automatically go from the 8 all the way to the finals.
Right, and
just foregoing the Final Four without a competitor.
And just to clarify, Rawlings' car is not inoperable. It's that she did not make her competition timeout, that extra allotted 10 minutes. And if that happens, we don't allow you to move on. You have to give up there.
Well, if you can recall in the second one more time, that's when she called her comp timeout. She was only allowed 10 minutes because it was it was actually Alec Robbins' fault. It wasn't 5 plus 10. It was just 10, and she couldn't make that. And that rule was created because of just run of show. We can't just give you as much time as possible, even though it's not your fault. We feel 10 minutes to fix a vehicle is obviously a justifiable amount of time, a reasonable amount of time.
And it's pretty standard with the way that these guys, the teams have built a lot of the collapsible parts on these vehicles. However, the one exception to that is in the finals. We do have a finals provision that we can go longer if needed.
Here we go, Rome Charpentier, again, unofficially, 2019 Pro 2 Rookie of the Year, Donovan Brockway. Now, Rome Charpentier went hard into the wall earlier in practice. Donovan Brockway in that chase position. You saw him dive in, had to correct, made a correction. The battle of the BMWs here. Looks like Donovan center punching that front clip in that chase position. Very settled is Charpentier. And again, I didn't see it, but I was told it was a hard hit, separating the radiator from the car. I mean, it was insane.
So Charpentier and Brockway first run, a bit of a mistake there. It looked like by Brockway surging forward, he kind of lost a bit of angle in the vehicle. We know the car's incredibly fast and grippy. He's able to maintain good proximity here. Charpentier coming off of a really good event in St. Louis. Center punching that inside clip is Brockway. Then Charpentier has a little bit of a flub. Now both drivers whip around and finish things up. So now switching it up, Brockway goes to the lead. Charpentier will chase him down.
Let's alternate the order here. Alternate the order here between Brockway and Charpentier. The winner of this battle to go against Garrett Denton. So Charpentier, he currently sits second. So as we were talking there, Ryan, you know, Trenton Beecham, he's still in it. And so Beecham, who leads, Rome Charpentier in second, Garrett Denton in third. So quickly, Charpentier and Denton could face each other, but Brockway would love to play spoiler in this battle. Brockway not in contention for the championship, but just as the season has progressed from Orlando, just getting the car dialed more and more with every single round of competition. A beautiful looking vehicle, got that HGK body kit from Latvia, the carbon wrap on top of carbon Kevlar, the turbocharged BMW. Brockway out front. Rome is allowed to jump the light. Let's see how he handles it here in the chase position. Red Baron Racing, Donovan Brockway. He initiates, and Rome, the Imagine Garage vehicle, now transitioning through. Let's see if Rome can handle the smoke. And Donovan comes up just a little bit short, but Rome comes up very short on that last outside zone, Ryan.
Well, we knew Brockway would be fast in the lead position. He gets a good jump here. Charpentier tried to match the pace down the front straight, but as Brockway gets on throttle, you can still see that Charpentier is sticking with him through that outside zone. Big smoke cloud there by Brockway. Now coming through the center section, he goes past outside zone 3 without hitting it. Also, outside zone 4, so we're going to be definitely looking at the comparison of the leads here, even though Charpentier started to fall back a little bit. Watch, he really doesn't get out to outside zone 2 or 3, and then in the inside clip here, he blows by that as well, and a tight line to outside zone 4. So is that enough for Rome Charpentier to move on?
But here is the side-by-side, lead versus lead, chase versus chase. On the left, you have Charpentier leading. On the right, you have Donovan leading. And you can see Rome a little more dominant in that chase. Rome doesn't get all the way out to that outside zone, the second outside zone. So you can see Donovan punting it out. Donovan comes up short. Rome just barely taps that back left into that outer zone, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason this is up is because there's really no question that both drivers made some, pretty
sizable mistakes.
Yeah, substantive mistakes. It's just a matter of, did that needle go in one direction or another justifiably?
Remember, Rome Charpentier, up for contention in the championship, sits second in the championship behind Beecham, and Beecham has 170 points. Rome, he is just 5 points behind him after qualifying. Are they gonna slide left? Are they gonna slide him right? Ryan, Andy, and Brian. Ryan says Donovan Brockway. Brian says one more time, and Andy says Donovan Brockway gets the win. Donovan Brockway gets the win, and that was 2-1. It was not unanimous. So Brockway plays spoiler. I'm going to throw it over to Ryan Lontaine, to you to elaborate. You, Andy, sided with Brockway, and again, championship implications. Rome Charpentier second in points coming in, or not even into this round, after qualifying, and you guys said 2-1 Donovan.
Yeah, in Rome's lead at initiation, he was on the brakes. He slowed down significantly, more than he should have there, and in our eyes, it choked up Donovan Brockway in the chase position and didn't allow him to do a good chase run from that point on, essentially, and it kind of threw him off. And in the lead position, Donovan did a good job in the lead of staying at angle. He did not fill the zones very well, though. But in this case, looking at the repercussions of Rome making that error at initiation, we just went with Donovan based on mainly based on that. And we looked at what we were talking about earlier, being able to call a run based on overall feeling for the run, as opposed to individual little issues that we saw. It looked like Donovan was just on the throttle more through the course, more committed, and just looked better overall.
All right, so Donovan Brockway gets the victory, not unanimously, but 2-1. So we have all of our 8 drivers in to our grade 8. Kelsey Rawlings, Josh Robinson, we'll see how that unfolds, but I think we explained that fairly well. So Sexsmith and Adam LZ will be the first battle in grade 8. And Ula, Yeager, and Beecham. So when we come back, again, we'll take a short break, gather our thoughts after a pretty crazy top 16, but we do have 8 drivers. Are they running? We'll find out when we return. Round 4, the final round of the Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship. So the Grade 8 is here at the Advanced Auto Parts Showdown presented by Rain-X, and an interesting turn of events after assessing some things here. Ryan, elaborate what has happened now with our first battle in the Grade 8.
Well, we hypothesized that it was possible that Adam LZ and Riley Sexsmith, the winner of that, could potentially go right to the finals because we had an open bracket, but we have confirmed from race control that in fact Kelsey Rawlings was not able to fix her vehicle in the 10 minutes, but it was deemed that it could be repairable, and they just were not.
Here's Alec Robbins by run, listen, and again, Robbins will advance on not only to the So now with Robbins, with that bye run, he gets the fast pass to Final Four. Unfortunately, Josh Robinson unable to fix his car. And now Alec Robbins waits in the wing with his Dayton 1 Nissan 350Z to go against one of those two gentlemen, Adam LZ or Riley Sexsmith. This should be a fun battle to watch. As Adam and our track getting cleaned up here a little bit, and we'll warm up the tires. Adam LZ going into the burnout box here in his great looking Silvia S15. Adam LZ qualifying 5th, Riley Sexsmith qualifying 13th. The Achilles tires being warmed up. The second the second battle of Grade 8. As we said, Robbins will be going against the winner of this battle. Ryan?
While we wait for these guys to get to line, let's just remind everybody where we are at the current moment, and also in terms of the championship. We've got Ola Yeager and Trenton Beecham on the right-hand side of the bracket. Next to them is Denton and Brockway. Denton and Beecham, and now Robbins are your championship contenders. Robbins is on the left-hand side of the bracket. Robbins was able to move on because Kelsey Rawlings was not able to get to the second half of that battle, so Robbins got a bye. And because Robinson is not able to compete, that puts him right into the Final Four. Now, Robbins was only 38 points away, so he has already got Final Four points. As you said, he will face the winner of Sexsmith and Adam LZ, which we're going to see right now.
Keep in mind, Robbins actually is guaranteed third place in the points championship.
Big.
So what
Big.
are those? What are third place points?
Well,
attached?
our mathematician is up here right now.
Yeah. So third place points because Robbins is our #1 qualifier. So with him, he could go. Obviously, he wants to win in the Final Four, either against Sexsmith or Adam LZ. He could play spoiler, but basically how that would unfold is either Brockway would take out Denton, and Yeager could take out Beecham, and Robbins would move closer. Again, with just a margin of points of 38, is that enough? Is there enough points available if those guys get knocked out here in the Grade 8?
Well, you've got 20 separate. Well, let's get to this
keep
battle.
And keep in mind, Yeager He qualified second. Here we go. Adam LZ, Riley Sexsmith throwing it in here. And LZ, big angle there. Sexsmith in that chase position, throwing up a ton of smoke, but Sexsmith still cuts through it here on that front clip. Sexsmith really applying the pressure. LZ, a quick little correction there, but Sexsmith not phased. Crossing the finish line, go both the gentlemen. Ryan, a very exciting run there.
Yeah, good first run here by Sexsmith and Adam LZ. LZ gets a little bit of a jump on Sexsmith. He's pretty deep into outside zone 1. Sexsmith closing the door. LZ leaves outside zone 1. Heads to number 2. Great job there. Sexsmith coming through the smoke line. LZ pretty deep in outside zone 3. Here comes Sexsmith closing the door. Big e-brake pull right in the decel zone there from Adam LZ, and Sexsmith adjusts. He does a great job keeping it close towards the finish line after he fell off for a little bit there. So now, after we had a good, clean run number 1, we're going to switch things up with Riley Sexsmith taking the lead.
Sexsmith will get the clean air. Let's see how it gets to go down. Who's going to go against Alec Robbins? Could see Sexsmith spotter pretty pumped here. And with that chase run, that's pretty good. As you said, Ryan, we've seen some great things from Adam LZ in qualifying when he gets those solo runs, but it's going to come down to now how he can chase. And lights are extinguished. Out of the gate goes Sexsmith. All the JZs here on track. And look at LZ. He stays in a little longer to gain that. You can see just how close he can get. Oh boy. Sexsmith past that front clip, transitioning now into that outer zone. LZ taking a way tighter line. Sexsmith gets all the way out to that outer zone. LZ taking a shallower line, Ryan. Let's slow it down. Let's take a look at here again.
So this time it's Sexsmith out front. He gets a pretty good jump, but LZ diving in, closing the door, driving right through the smoke line. Sexsmith is on a tighter line there. A bit off that outside zone, but better on outside zone 2. Here comes LZ through the smoke line. Big angle there from Sexsmith. LZ through the inside clip, but Sexsmith, reduction of angle, doesn't get fully out there, and also very tight line there by LZ. So a back and forth battle here with both drivers making a couple little mistakes. I see the judges really watching this one closely, as we've got a battle on our hands, and the weight of those mistakes between both drivers, what the judges are looking at. Look at, here's the side-by-side, Jared. Sexsmith in the lead on the right, LZ on the left. LZ a little bit closer there. Look at Sexsmith's lead run. He's a bit off outside zone 1. LZ was a little bit deeper in his lead. Both drivers hit outside zone 2 pretty well. Nice job by Sexsmith in proximity on the right-hand side of the, or excuse me, LZ on the right-hand side of the screen. Sexsmith closing the door here. Big e-brake pull in that decel zone for LZ, and Sexsmith adjusts. Results look like they're coming in, Jared.
Slide him left for Sexsmith, right for LZ. Ryan, Andy, and Brian. Ryan says LZ, Andy, and Brian. Adam LZ gets the victory. And going to you, Ryan Lontaine, it is unanimous. Lead versus lead, chase versus chase. LZ hanging tough.
In my eyes, LZ did a better job of fulfilling the lead driver responsibilities. He filled the zones better, he had better angle, and didn't try to get away in my eyes. When Sexsmith was leading, it looked like, especially coming by outside zone 2, very low amount of angle and a low, kind of a slow transition to outside zone 3. And it just looked like he was trying to get away. He wasn't fulfilling his lead responsibilities very well, which I put on him for causing LZ to have a bit of a poor chase, trying to keep up to somebody trying to get away from him in the lead. So it ends up being LZ getting the win.
All right, so Adam LZ and Robbins will be going against each other in the Final Four. Ryan, our second half of the battle, or excuse me, of the bracket. So on the left side in the Final Four already, Alec Robbins versus Adam LZ. The other side of the Grade 8 battle has Ula Yeager versus Trenton Beecham. Beecham leads the championship. This definitely has, as we always like to say, has championship implications.
Well, we're definitely going to want to take a look at the numbers here because we're going to be able to determine what happens if Beecham gets knocked out here, or if he wins, could potentially lock it up.
Ula will lead, and Beecham giving chase. And Yeager in that Toyota Supra, he had some issues, but seems to have worked them all out now. Earlier he had some issues just going in, just drove straight in, but now that Japan Auto Nexen tire, Toyota Supra transitions, big angle. Both these guys max out the angle, just barely glancing that front clip. Yeager filling all the outside zone. Beecham touches it, hits it, and quits it. Ryan, Yeager looks like he is back on form.
Yeah, he really does, and gets a great snap to initiation here. Watch the rear wheels. He doesn't let him float out as much as he did like in the past when he was having those problems. He's about midline there, but Beecham is not letting him get away. He's driving really well through this smoke line. The transition right around the same time. Big angle there by Yeager out front. Reduction in angle there by Beecham coming through inside clip 1 and transitioning to outside zone 4. So taking a look on board here, you can see Yeager gets to that second outside zone. Pretty good job on the third. Beecham doing a great job here, but watch this. Just out of sight there, that is where Beecham had that reduction in angle.
So Ryan, we're getting some scenarios here. Basically, if Beecham gets knocked out here, both Robbins and Denton still have an opportunity to win the championship. If Beecham gets the win here, Alec Robbins no longer has contention for the championship. He's 38 points that he has to make up. So Beecham, it's a must-win scenario for him. And here we go. So Beecham now out front. Ula Yeager in the chase position. Ula Yeager making some mistakes as Beecham into that second outer zone, now into the third. Beecham swinging it into that final outside zone. Lead versus lead, chase versus chase. Again, it's a must-win for Beecham, and if he wins, he will remove Alec Robbins from the scenario of winning the championship.
Well, the ball may have been put back in the court of Beecham for the time being. Big reduction in angle there by Yeager, who was also on a tighter line. So think about the chase run of Beecham. Now compare the leads. Both drivers did a pretty good job here. You saw a bit wide there at inside clip 1 by Beecham, but outside of that, not a bad lead run. Was that enough to swing it in the direction of Beecham? You said it. Let's say it again. If Beecham wins here, that means Robbins is out of championship contention. If Beecham is knocked out here, both Denton and Robbins have a possibility.
Slide him left for Beecham. Slide him right for Ula Yeager. Ryan, Andy, and Brian says Trenton Beecham. Beecham gets the win. So Robbins, as we were told, is not available or in competition for the championship, but could still, of course, win the event because he's alive in the Final Four. So Robbins guaranteed at minimum third place, trying to better that as well. And so one more battle left in the Great 8. As you can see, the flags are flying here. And all right, so this is a bye run. This is a bye run for Robinson. So the previous bye run was to solidify. He was able to run. Kelsey Rawlings was not. And now this is to solidify Robbins' vehicle is able to run against Robinson. So now he's officially in the Final Four. So again, that previous bye run was to solidify he could finish out the entirety of the battle against Kelsey Rawlings, and now this means that Josh Robinson unable to fix his vehicle. Alec Robbins will now go against Adam LZ in the Final Four. One more battle left here in the Great 8. That's Garrett Denton and Donovan Brockway. And there is the Cora Works Nexen Tire S14. And Garrett Denton warming up his necks and tires. All right, so Donovan now in.
Yeah, let's tee it up here. So we got Robbins now in LZ in the Final Four. We got Beecham waiting the winner of Denton and Brockway.
And that's who's on the line.
And really the only contender left is Denton. So let's verify this, but I think if Denton loses here, Beecham is your champion. Right? Because Robbins can't win, LZ's not in contention.
Well, Robbins can win if what we were just told. That's, I mean, Robbins can win if he's able to run. Robbins can go against LZ. He'd get 100 points if he got the victory. He's 38 points behind, but if Beecham gets knocked out here.
I see. Okay, so
and Beecham, I mean, there's still some scenarios that are playing out. So, yeah, it's getting deep. It's getting deep. Here we go. Let's see how deep they can get into this first outside zone. Garrett Denton, Donovan Brockway. Garrett Denton initiates into the outside zone, not as quickly as he did on that previous run against Kenrick Meyer. And now Garrett using all the course. Look at Brockway finding another gear. Into that outside zone goes Denton, and Brockway looking very comfortable. Like I said, from Orlando to now here in Texas, Brockway really just progressing throughout the year.
Yeah, looking real solid here in this first run. Great 8 battle. Out front, Denton midline starts to move a little bit deeper, but Brockway keeping it tight. Moving out of that outside zone into outside zone 2. Great job there. Could have been a little bit deeper, but Brockway keeping the pressure on. Does a great job avoiding contact with big angle there from Denton out front. Denton not able to fill that final outside zone. Brockway adjusts and stays with them. So, Jared, you're right. We are seeing these drivers really improve throughout the season, but most notably right here in this event when the pressure is on.
All right, so this, again, might have been premature on the speculation there, but we are trying to really just play all the scenarios, though, but we might have been incorrect on Robbins being out of contention. Again, that's why I always say unofficially. Always say unofficially. So now let's alternate the order, Brockway and Garrett Denton. The fact of the matter is, if Garrett Denton gets knocked out here, he would be out of contention because Beecham is already in the Final Four. That is for sure. So Garrett Denton is a must-win if he wants his hopes to stay alive for a 2019 Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship. Donovan Brockway, he just took out second in points. Can he take out third in points? Donovan Brockway initiates. Big angle from him in that Red Baron Racing BMW. Garrett Denton right there, hanging out in that smoke. Garrett Denton, a bit of straightening there, not a big amount of angle from Denton, and Brockway gets all the way to the outside zone. Diving in is Brockway, and Garrett Denton brings it across. Ryan, lead versus lead, chase versus chase. What do you think?
Well, let's take a look at this as Denton was really close there on initiation. He got a bit tighter here, a little bit less angle. Brockway a little bit of movement, but a pretty good job on the line. Now moving to outside zone 2. Driving through the smoke line is Denton. He angles down there, makes a bit of a mistake. We see the cone being hit by Brockway. Now Denton on a tighter line, but Brockway goes very wide at the final inside clip. So here we are on board. You can see that little flub right there by Denton in the chase position very briefly. Brockway tries to shoot out wide, and on a tighter line there is Denton. So Brockway maybe getting the better of that exchange, but then he goes wide at the final inside clip.
Hoods are popped here. That looks like LZ's vehicle. Seeing Team LZ on that side. So Brockway and Denton, again, and slide him left for Donovan Brockway. So there it is. So Brockway gets the victory and taking out Garrett Denton. And Lontaine, going to you. Look at this. Brockway is the dark horse. He takes out second in points. He takes out third in points. So you guys, it was unanimous.
Yeah, a big part of it came down to Denton straightening through the power alley here, going to outside zone 3, coming inside clip 1, and just looked like in the lead position, Donovan was doing a great job getting his car positioned. He was on throttle, great momentum. There was no reason for Denton in the chase position to make that error through the power alley there, so unfortunately, he's going to lose based on that. Back to you, Jared.
Thank you, Ryan. We're just elaborating here on all the different scenarios. 38 points separate Beecham and Robbins, now with Garrett Denton out. Donovan Brockway qualifying 11th. Adam LZ, hood is popped. Welcome back. I am seeing two cars here on the line, and that is our #1 qualifier versus our #5 qualifier. Talking with Adam LZ's spotter. He's elated. They're on the podium because basically they are the two highest qualifiers left remaining. So if, say, Alec Robbins goes to the finals, Adam LZ is guaranteed 3rd place. If Adam LZ goes to the finals, Robbins will get 3rd place. Regardless, one of these or both of these gentlemen will be on the box. Is it 1st, 2nd, or 3rd? We'll find out. But this is the first side of the Final Four bracket. But Ryan, now let's talk championship. Alec Robbins still in it. He was 38 points behind Trenton Beecham, who was our leader after qualifying. He is still in the Final Four. He will be going against Brockway on the other side of the Final Four bracket.
Yeah, according to the math right now, Robbins needs Beecham to get knocked out in his battle against Brockway, and Robbins needs to win the event, and he would win the championship by 2 points. So I want to double check to make sure this next point is sure, but if Robbins loses here against LZ, that would make Beecham your champion.
And we'll go ahead and run and do that just to... And Robbins will lead, as I said, our #1 qualifier, Adam LZ, our #5 qualifier. And here we go, the first battle of the Final Four. Local time, 10:05. Let's send it. Here we go. Alec Robbins, Adam LZ. Robbins initiates into that sweeper. We saw him get the win at St. Louis. Can he go back to back? Into that second outer zone goes Robbins. Oh, both those guys simultaneously exploding those indicators of that outside zone. LZ again shallowing up on that final outside zone and crossing the finish line.
Well, after a pretty solid year from LZ in the qualifying side, he's now finally starting to see some real success in the head-to-head competition, and with great chase runs like that through outside zone 1. A little bit of an adjustment there from Robbins out front, but better job on outside zone 2 to 3, though, that he goes a bit wide. You can see LZ followed him off course a little bit. An adjustment by Robbins right before outside zone 4, and then both drivers keeping it pretty close through the finish line.
Again, scenarios playing out here. Here we go with the second half, but we are getting the track prepared, both those guys. Here is the scenario, Ryan. I know you're over there talking scenarios, but Alec Robbins, 38 points behind the leader after qualifying. This is a must-win for Robbins. If Robbins loses, does that mean Beecham is our champion?
Yep, well, let's go the other way around. If Robbins keeps winning, and Beecham needs to get knocked out by Brockway, Robbins needs to win the event. He'll win by 2 points, okay? I think we've kind of established that. However, because he's 38 points behind, if Robbins gets knocked out right now, Beecham will win with that points advantage. So Beecham will become your champion if Robbins gets knocked out right now by Adam LZ.
Okay, so again, it's a must-win for Robbins, and Beecham is looking on from the pits, and he knows he is to go against Brockway. But also, you know, you want to win the event, but you'd also like to win a championship. And Beecham right now, and we've seen this play out in the Pro Championship, just waiting from the wings.
Yeah, the only power Robbins has is to keep winning. He can't affect anything with Beecham and Brockway. That's out of his hands. He can keep winning. He can win the event. He could potentially win the championship if he's able to get through Adam LZ here. If he loses, Trenton Beecham is your 2019 Link Engine Management Pro 2 champion.
Looks like the course is getting back put together here. And the lights will extinguish now. Here we go. Adam LZ now out front. Alec Robbins in the chase position. Can Adam LZ make it to the finals? Or is Alec Robbins going to continue his success? Adam LZ getting out to the outside zone, not all the way deep. Alec Robbins taking a shallower line, now transitioning to the second, now into the third. Through that power rally goes LZ. Robbins diving in on that front clip, punting it out of the way. LZ throwing some more angle on Alec Robbins, shortening up here. Could this mean that Trenton Beecham is your champion? Or is Alec Robbins gonna be the victor? LZ and Robbins.
LZ coming on strong in a big way here at a monumental point in competition. Excellent job on outside zone 1. Here comes Robbins. That was one of the deeper outside zone 1s we've seen tonight. This time LZ is on the inside line of outside zone 3. Looks like Robbins hits that cone and he goes way on the inside there. Did this push the pendulum back in LZ's direction? As we know, if Robbins loses here, Trenton Beecham will be your unofficial champion for the 2019 season, and this would be the furthest that we've seen Adam LZ go in competition.
The smoke is clearing here, and we are finding out, is Alec Robbins your victor? Adam LZ, as you say, this is the furthest we've seen him go. He is guaranteed a podium. So again, Trenton Beecham will be your champion if Adam LZ gets the victory, and LZ gets the win. Adam LZ gets the win, putting a halt to Alec Robbins, meaning that Trenton Beecham is again your Link Engine Management Pro 2 champion, and Adam LZ is going to the finals. So Trenton Beecham, congratulations, our 2019 Link Engine Management Pro 2 champion. And there is the fist pump from him. Battled through this Mustang. Again, we've seen him grow as a driver from the streets of Long Beach at the Long Beach Grand Prix to now here, a season culminating in Texas. Again, shredded, battered, bruised, but still has to go through Donovan Brockway, and now who's going to go against Adam LZ in the finals, Ryan?
Well, you know, just hearkening back on that last battle, it really is phenomenal being brought to our attention. Alec Robbins came into this event in 5th place.
Yeah.
And he could have he had a pathway to the championship, and it just slipped away right there. Trenton Beecham has been consistent all year. He now finds himself in a position to put a cherry on top of everything if he can get through Brockway. But of course, Brockway is going to battle hard. And for Adam LZ, the season that had many high points, some great qualifying runs, not being able to really pull it together in the head-to-head action, now finds himself in his first finals in his career, and he's going to be going up against the potential champion or a surging driver in that of Donovan Brockway.
Yeah, Brockway, talk about a Cinderella story, you know, just seeing him compete in pro years ago in the E30, and then moving on to and crashing that car, totaling it, taking a hiatus, coming back, building this car. And again, that car looks phenomenal. If you haven't seen it up close in person, that car is a beautiful piece of machinery. Again, prepared by Red Baron Racing, the turbocharged BMW. It's a great looking car, has a lot of horsepower. He had to detune that thing quite a bit in order to just it to be manageable. Has a ton of horsepower, but you know, from Orlando to now here, he is going for it. Donovan Brockway against the 2019 Link Engine Management Pro 2 champion, Trenton Beecham. Beecham will lead. He qualified 7th compared to 11th of Brockway. 7-11, even backed with Little Joe. Here we go. Trenton Beecham initiates into that first outside zone. Beecham throwing a lot of angle at it. You can see Brockway kind of straightening up. But still to the side of that Mustang. Brockway again compromising that angle, gaining proximity as Beecham. Remember, it almost went away for Beecham early on. Again, that back left corner, he went into that tire wall, but stayed in it to win it. And we're talking about the championship.
That was a pretty nasty chase run here from Brockway towards the end. Let's see how they did at the beginning. You can see Beecham, once again, incredible lead run on the big bank. Makes a little bit of a correction there on that second outside zone. Brockway as well, right there through that inside clip. But as he tucks into the pocket here, this is a great bit of driving by both drivers. Nice side to side, door to door action. Very clean through that final inside clip.
Brockway will now lead. It looks like just that front clip was hit. And we will tighten it up. Again, Beecham's hot rod of a Mustang, that Roush Performance vehicle. 30 drivers now narrowed down to just 3. LZ is going against the winner of this battle, Brockway or Adam LZ. Again, Alec Robbins guaranteed 3rd place. So the loser of this battle just a bit outside in 4th place. And let's see, can Beecham take it all the way to the top? Slide him left for Brockway, right for Beecham. Who's going to the finals to go against Adam LZ? Left for Brockway, right for Beecham. Brian says Beecham. Andy says one more time, and Brian says Trenton Beecham gets the win. Trenton Beecham is moving on into the finals. So a great effort there by Donovan Brockway. Again, a hat tip to him. Takes out Rome Charpentier. He takes out Garrett Denton, but the roadblock ends. Going over to you, Ryan Lontaine. Ryan and Brian saying Trenton Beecham. Lontaine?
Beecham did a pretty good job on his lead run. He filled the zones. He got where he needed to be in the chase position. Brockway made a couple corrections, straightened up slightly in outside zone 1. When Brockway led, he did not fill anything he was supposed to. For the most part, he was running a very fast line, trying to get away. He was very much inside of the middle of the track, where it's the quickest. He's not really using that angle to fill and get all the way to the outside zones. Instead, choosing to stay more on the inside of the track and using that rocket ship of a car to get away from Beecham. Beecham really didn't have a whole lot of opportunity there to put together a good chase run because of the lead that Brockway put together.
Right on. Thank you, Ryan Lontaine. So as you can see, Trenton Beecham, he's thrown on some fresh necks and tires. Third place goes to Alec Robbins. When we come back, Trenton Beecham, our 2019 Link Engine Management Pro 2 champion, will be going against Adam LZ with the best finish this season. When we come back, the finals are here. Adam LZ versus Trenton Beecham.
All right, and we're back here, and Ryan Lantain, I just wanted to bring you on before we get to this final battle. We see Adam LZ set and ready to go, Trenton Beecham in the background. From what you've seen here tonight, it's been a pretty crazy top 16 from this Pro 2 field. We've got Adam LZ, the number 5th qualifier of the weekend. Trenton Beecham qualified 7th. What are some of the things that you've seen from each of those two drivers, and what's it going to take here to win in the finals?
Well, what I've seen from LZ so far is that he's pretty fast through the track, but he doesn't use the speed to get away from the chase driver by missing the outside zones, by trying to get away from that chase driver by cheating or making compromises. He's filling the zones. He's using the speed to get the car where he needs it to be throughout the run. He's done a great job recently of not hitting the inside clip, which a lot of the drivers in the previous rounds have been hitting very consistently. So he's getting smoothly through there, and he's filling outside zone number 4, which seems to be a little bit more difficult for some drivers to do. Looking at Beecham, he's maybe a little less through. He might have been a little bit more lucky coming through until now, so I think he's going to have his work cut out for him at this point. It may be, his car looks pretty beat up right now. Earlier, you know, he did get into the wall a couple of times, the tire wall there, so maybe his car's hurt a little bit, you know, compared to LZ's, which Trenton's just going to have to be a little bit more consistent in filling the zones and getting that car where it's supposed to be throughout the run, and hopefully he can do that so we can have a really good battle right now. We want the finals to be really strong, and I'm hoping to have a couple of great runs from both of these drivers, and I hope that it's a difficult decision to make due to how great they are, as opposed to you know, having a pile of mistakes.
Just taking a look back at the 2019 season, we haven't really made it that easy on this Pro 2 field. 3 of the 4 events that we've had have been nighttime events that they've had to deal with. One new track in St. Louis. Really, it's only been Orlando that was a daytime event for them. What do you think of this 2019 field and what you've seen so far as we now find ourselves to the final battle of the year?
Well, we have definitely tested these drivers throughout the season. You can see that they're adapting pretty well. Well, some are adapting better than others, and those are the ones that are making it into the final rounds of competition at each round. So we're putting a lot of pressure on them to run the pro-level tracks. They're coming into this series, you know, at 4 rounds. Still very stressful for these drivers. It's really difficult. They are still driving all over the country to get to these tracks. And then they have to run on tracks that maybe they've never run on before, at speeds that perhaps they haven't competed at before as well. So we're pushing them really hard to compete at the pro level amongst themselves, as opposed to running, you know, against the pro guys. But they're still running these tracks that are, as you can see, very fast, very difficult, very technical. I think that St. Louis probably caught some drivers out. They may not have realized how technical that track was. I think people online even thought it was a little simplistic until we saw the drivers getting behind the wheel and actually trying to get through there and talking to us afterwards and saying, this is a fun track, but it's way more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So we are challenging them a lot, but we have to challenge them because if they want to get into the pro ranks, they have to be comfortable with being challenged in that way.
And that is a good foray into the next topic of conversation, Jared, which we've been mentioning here and there. The final 8 drivers of the 2019 championship in Pro 2 have the opportunity, not the obligation, to take a Pro Championship license. I could see a few guys potentially doing it. I could also see a few guys wanting to sharpen their skills a little bit more and actually becoming a real star in Pro 2 potentially, which I think is actually a very noble and admirable thing to do. The Pro 2 Championship has been consistently giving great returns in terms of viewership and people that are watching online and fans that are coming out and cheering, and especially on the grassroots side, we've seen so much support. So I think you know, sometimes some drivers, you know, maybe want to jump up to pro a little bit too quickly, maybe stay in for another year and really hone those skills, the program, the car, everything, and then when you're ready to go to pro, go for it. But I do see a couple drivers that could potentially make the move, and it would be interesting to see how they would fare in the new 2020 class.
Right, and I would agree with you 100% on everything. I also would add to that 8 rounds compared to four rounds of competition is quite a different level of program, you know, not only from sponsors, all the consumables, all the traveling, all the commitment. You know, I mean, you ask any of the pro drivers, 8 doesn't seem like a lot compared to other motorsports, but, you know, just given the accessibility of Formula Drift, I mean, look at that. You can go from Pro-Am to Pro 2 to Pro in 3 years if you really have what it takes. Obviously, we know it takes a lot more skill, a lot more talent, a lot more vehicle, a lot more knowledge, but theoretically, you could go from Pro-Am to Pro 2 to Pro if you got what it takes. So I think that's a tremendous, again, facet of Formula Drift and drifting in general overall.
Yeah, I love that aspect about it, and we see many drivers that are doing it right now. You know, these guys right here are on the precipice of spending a few years honing their skills and getting ready to go, and if they're ready to make that jump, that can. And it will be nice to celebrate with everybody afterwards. We will see who our top 8 drivers are. But before we get to that, the final battle of the night, Adam LZ and your 2019 champion, Trenton Beecham. Here we go.
Here we go. Let's send it. Texas Motor Speedway. Adam LZ, the best finish he's had all year. Trenton Beecham, your brand new 2019 Link Engine Management Pro 2 champion. Adam LZ comes out guns a-blazing. with big angle there, filling all of that outside zone and that beautiful Juku Racing, Achilles Tire S15, Trenton Beecham in that Roush Performance Nexon Tire Mustang. Battered, bruised, but still not down. Punching that front clip out of the way as Adam LZ doesn't get all the way out to the outside zone. Beecham taking a shallower line, but still a great way to start this final battle, Ryan.
Well, we heard what Lantane said. LZ is really fast, but can he challenge Beecham? He does a great job in outside zone 1. Look how deep he is. He's almost at the deepest part of the course. Now Beecham starts to close the door towards the end there. Now wrapping through that second outside zone into the third. LZ comes up a little bit tight on this inside clip, so almost center punches it, and also not getting out to that final outside zone, so leaving a few points on the table in his lead position. But I thought he did a great job there. And also right here, not too shabby as well.
Great.
He's right there at the edge of the course. So zones 1, 2, and 3 were really good. Inside clip 1 and outside zone 4, not as great. So we've seen LZ's lead run. Now we get an opportunity to see Beecham, and how will LZ fare in the chase?
All right, Trenton Beecham now out front, getting the track cleaned up as you saw. LZ, a quick little massage, flick of the wrist, and center punches that front clip. It is back in position. Will we have a winner? Alec Robbins gets third place. Remember, join us for the Carbon Fiber Trophy ceremony over at the podium. Join us over there. Second place is TBD, to be decided. Will it be Trenton Beecham, speaking of TB, Trenton Beecham, or will it be LZ? That's Adam LZ. But we know Alec Robbins from Minnesota, he gets on the box once again. He will obviously have a grade 8 finish overall in the 2019 Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship. Let's send it here for the final time in Pro 2 in 2019. Trenton Beecham, your 2019 champion, going against Adam LZ. On 3, yell send it. 1, 2, 3, send it! Here we go. Beecham and LZ for the final run of Pro 2. Potentially, or are they gonna go one more time? But right now, Adam LZ to the side of Trenton Beecham. Look at this, nosing in with that Sylvia S15. Gives him enough room to transition, and now into that third outer zone. Oh, and LZ, a big correction from him. He applied the pressure, but has to back down. And now bringing it across the finish line is LZ. And he does not rotate Ryan. That was a great way to start it, but he just couldn't hang a little longer.
He dove in, he kept the pressure on in this first outside zone. That was the best chase lead run we've seen at that point of the course up until now, but he suffers right here as he comes through. He transitions a little bit early. Now he's on a tight line, he has to adjust. Beecham out front, he's gonna be deeper into outside zone 4 than Adam LZ. So we've seen a back and forth battle here. And who is going to take the win? LZ with some really great drifting right here on that first outside zone, narrowly touching Trenton Beecham. But Beecham, once again, the story for him, even though he misses that second outside zone, has been the general consistency. So let's see what happens if we do have a winner. Obviously, the cars will revert down to the front of the grandstands, and we will do that public announcement.
Judges want to see it again side by side. This is always a great opportunity. You can see LZ on the left in that lead. So good angle from LZ. Beecham back quite a ways, and quite a contrast because LZ was close, but then watching the latter portion of the battle here. You see through that power alley in the smoke, you see Beecham chasing him down. LZ takes that shallower line. Now watch this outside zone. How do they compare? Lead versus lead, chase versus chase. Again, it's hard to, you only got 2 eyes, and you're looking at 4 cars, you're looking at 2 screens. Gets a little difficult here, Ryan.
Yeah, tough call for the judges here in the finals. Obviously, some mistakes made on both sides, but who's going to get the win here?
Judges taking a look at all the different angles. Congratulations to all of the competitors here in Pro 2. Remember, Pro, round 7. And it looks like, here we go, slide him left for Beecham, right for LZ. Ryan says Adam LZ. Andy and Brian. Andy says one more time, and Brian says one more time. They're going at it again. So a one more time battle. Ryan, you actually sided with Adam LZ. Brian and Andy are the 2 judges that went one more time. But again, majority rules. So some fresh rubber, Nexen and Achilles, which is the spec tire. Want to thank them for their support of the Pro 2 Championship. Either and only exclusively Nexen and Achilles can be ran. Ryan, we're going to talk to you, but I saw you talking to Brian Eggert, your other fellow peer judges, but they both went with the one more time. You yourself went with Adam LZ, but what did Brian tell you?
Brian said he just saw good things from both and errors from both, and that's what led him to call one more time. Just that was a simple explanation. You know, they did great things and they also had mistakes. I personally saw that I really liked LZ's lead. He did miss outside zone 4, but he did such a great job through the rest of the track, filling the outside zones, and with proper angle, doing a great job. When Trenton led, he did not fulfill the lead driver responsibilities. He was missing all the zones. The only outside zone that he did well in was outside zone 4, but everything that he missed early on, I think, is what caused LZ to have a problem in the chase position, because he was doing great on outside zone 1. He was really close. As Ryan said, that was the best chase we've seen through that zone yet tonight in all of competition. And then as soon as Trenton came through the power alley here, he was really on the inside. He wasn't filling the outside zones. When we saw the overhead shot from the drone, he wasn't even tire near the outside edge of the outside zone 2 box.
Right.
So in the chase position where LZ was trying to stay close, he's trying to transition the car with what Trenton did, but being so far inside in the chase position, really difficult for him to fill the whole the rest of the course. So I put his errors on Trenton's mistakes in the lead, and that's why I gave LZ the win. I thought he did a better job in the lead and was not really responsible for his mistakes because Trenton caused them. But I was outvoted, so it's a one more time, my friends.
That is a one more time. So we will take another short commercial break. Nexen tires being thrown underneath the vehicle, and Achilles tires underneath Adam LZ. Alec Robbins waits on. He is guaranteed that 3rd place and final podium spot. When we come back, they're going one more time here, baby, at Texas Motor Speedway, the Advanced Auto Parts Showdown presented by Rain-X. Welcome back. Look at that little inception shot there. Texas Motor Speedway. One more time battle. If you're just tuning in, well, you've missed one heck of an event. You saw some carnage, you saw some amazing driving, and now you're seeing Adam LZ, the best finish he's had so far this year. Trenton Beecham would love to get the win once again, and there's Beecham waiting in the wings. He is officially your 2019 Formula Drift Link Engine Management Pro 2 champion. I'm Jared Deanna. Join me once again here is Ryan Sage. Ryan, we have a Pro Top 32 beginning tomorrow. Should definitely be exciting, but right now all eyes are on Beecham, who wraps up the championship, but also a lot of eyeballs on Adam LZ.
Yeah, no question about it. This has by far and away been the best event that he's had. And coming off of that #1 qualification in St. Louis, he definitely turned some heads there. And I think a lot of people thought at the beginning of the year that we would see results like this from him, but it seemed like he was getting his grounding. He kind of seemed like he maybe over-exerted a little bit at Orlando and maybe Atlanta, but then kind of settled in a bit more in St. Louis, had that #1 qualification. A bit of a tricky top 16 for him, but here we see him now in the finals is really starting to put things together, looking strong. And as we talked to Ryan Lantane a few moments ago, he was concurring with the fact that that chase run on outside zone 1 was one of the best that we've seen, probably the best that we've seen in that section of the course from these Pro 2 drivers. So he is certainly building some momentum here, but you got the current champ on the line. We got 2 judges going with one more time, one with LZ. Let's make it for real.
Here we go, one more time battle. Adam LZ and Trenton Beecham coming out of the gate. Adam LZ, quite a few car distances between each other. Massive angle there from LZ, punts that marker out of the way. Gets into the second outer zone, big angle from LZ. Oh, looks like wrong side of that front clip. And now getting in the outside zone and into that final front clip. Ryan, a big mistake there as far as that front clip, but it's definitely far from over.
Yeah, let's take a look here at LZ out front. Big angle there on that outside zone. Here comes Beecham. Ripping through. Big angle from LZ. But he's on the inside almost of that first inside clip. So seeing some really phenomenal driving, but crazy enough, makes a big mistake there.
And there we are, seeing the overhead view, and you saw when Adam LZ threw that the vehicle, the NS15, at that third outer zone, you saw just how it gripped up and shot in on the inside of that front clip. So now let's see Beecham out front. Still need to fix a few clips. Are we gonna get a victor? Is somebody gonna get the win? And here is Beecham. He will lead. LZ will give chase. And the clips are put back in their respective locations, and we'll be back at it. Trenton Beecham qualifying 7th. His path to get here, he had to go through Jonathan Herst, then Ula Yeager, and then Donovan Brockway. Adam LZ, he kicked things off going against Andrew Schulte, then he went against Sexsmith, and then he had to go through Alec Robbins to end up here. Adam LZ versus Trenton Beecham. And here we go, Beecham and LZ. Lights are on. Is this going to be the final battle? Let's send it, Texas Motor Speedway. The final round of the Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship. The stands are still full to find out who's going to come out on top. And there it is once again, Adam LZ. A little bit more posture, a little bit more poise there. But Beecham, a good lead run. Doesn't get all the way into that second outer zone. Again, learn from your mistakes. LZ nudges it out of the way. Into that final outer zone goes Trenton Beecham. And there is Adam LZ. A great run from both of these drivers. Ryan, let's look at it again.
Phenomenal chase run from LZ, pretty much all the way around. He is really coming into his own here. Beecham out front, doing a tremendous job in the lead. Just a little bit off that the first outside zone. Second one, pretty good job there, but LZ is not letting him go. Beecham wrapping through that inside clip, LZ tucking it in. Beecham deep into that outside zone, and LZ this time follows him through that last inside clip.
Seemed that really, he just made notes of the mistakes that he made after that first run. You know, just, okay, this is where Trenton's going to be. I'm going to back off. And that's a sign of that driver that knows what's going on. And obviously, he's going against a driver that knows what he's doing because he's the champion. But you can see that car's been through a lot of wear and tear. Again, Adam LZ, you know, going for Rookie of the Year. I believe he is, again, out of that contention because he was 113 points. Or 100 again. That's why I say unofficially with Rome Charpentier, because what I saw earlier as far as the standings going, well, we'll take a look at that again. But he was, I think, mathematically impossible to take that Rookie of the Year spot.
Oh, you mean with Adam? Okay, I was trying to figure out what you're talking
with
about.
Adam LZ because he is a rookie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there, but basically Adam LZ and his contention for Formula Drift Pro 2 Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
But when I looked at it last, Rome Charpentier, he was outside. And it was basically like 115 points he would have to make, and you can only make 100. And with Rome making it, actually he got knocked out in 16.
Before we get, now it does look like we have a victor here. I just wanted to bring Ryan on real quick. Just obviously don't tell us who won, but give us your impression of those two runs. We saw a great chase run by Adam LZ from my opinion. He did make that mistake in his lead, kind of center punching that inside clip, but if you could synopsize the two runs for us before we get to the winners, that would be great.
Really hard for me to tell you this without giving you the winner, Ryan.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
You know what to do.
Really
Come on.
Is. You know, they both made mistakes. They both did great things. I don't know what to say without giving it away.
You have to fairly generalize. I understand that.
I want Jared to go ahead and do the proper announcement here to make it official.
But overall, Pro 2 this year, what's your take?
I think that this series is really coming into its own now. We're truly building champions that are ready to go to Pro Championship and contend there with the best drivers that we have in that series. So I think that it's doing what it was meant to do.
Right.
I'm happy to see them doing what they're doing out there. I'm glad these guys were able to put together these great battles, get really close, and put on a great show for everybody. Congrats.
Hey. All right, so here we go. Third place goes to the Dayton 1 350Z from Minnesota. It is Alec Robbins. Your winner here at round 4 of the Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship here at Texas Motor Speedway. Make some noise for both of our drivers here that are in the finals again. Trenton Beecham grabbing that championship. Adam LZ, the highest finish he's had all year. And your winner here at Texas Motor Speedway, the final round of the Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship is Trenton Beecham. Unanimously gets the win. Trenton Beecham, not only your winner, he is also your champion. That means second place here, round 4 of the Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship is Adam LZ. Adam LZ, second place here in Texas. Adam, congratulations to you. Adam LZ, second place here in Texas. So there you have it, Beecham, Adam LZ, and then there you have Alec Robbins. There it is. Tune in tomorrow. Pro Top 32 at 3:30, 7 o'clock, halftime show presented by BC Racing, and then of course 8 o'clock, Top 16. Lontaine, now you can elaborate a little bit more in depth because we know the outcome.
I think that Trenton listened to me talking earlier after the first battle that they had, before the one more time, and he really cleaned up his chase run. and he cleaned up his lead run. He did a really great job in the lead. He filled all the zones the way he was supposed to, as opposed to in the first battle where he was really on the inside of the, in the middle of the track. So really filled the zones, did a great job, and that gave Adam LZ an amazing opportunity to put together his great chase. Unfortunately, LZ in the lead position, he tried to get away. He wasn't doing what he was doing up until that point. He tried to go too fast, made a lot of errors, made mistakes that we really couldn't forgive in that, and that's why we gave Trent Beecham the win.
Right on. Thank you so much, Ryan Lontaine. Sage, anything to add? All right, that's it. So we will see you tomorrow here at Texas Motor Speedway for round 7 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Again, on behalf of the judges, Andy Yen, Brian Eggert, Ryan Lontaine, Jared Deanda. We'll see Lorette Nickel here tomorrow for round 7. This is the Advanced Auto Parts Showdown presented by Rain-X. I'm Jared Deanda. Congratulations, Trent Beecham, our 2019 Link Engine Management Pro 2 champion.